Calling the Finance Committee back to order. We don't need to call the roll. Ms. Saban, can you read the next section into the record?
Page 344, golf course. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $2,500,000. 2026 budgeted, $2,611,125. Mr. Chairman.
Good. Thank you for having us today to show information and talk about Highland Park Golf Course Foundation and the operations. They have a brief PowerPoint slide. I will work to get that up on the screen. Today we have with us Paul Sampliner, who is with the foundation, and we have Tom. I'm drawing a blank on your Sheets. I know I should have known that. Anyway, Tom Sheets, who's also with the golf course. So I will allow them to give you just a little bit more information, and then I will work to get the slides up onto the screen. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks. Just very quickly, this will take maybe 7 minutes with our slides. Just to introduce Tom and I. Tom is the general manager of Highland Park. My name is Paul. I'm just a member of the board. Quick story here. I was talking to Tom yesterday, and we were both the same age and lived near to Highland Park. And at 12 years old, both of us took the bus to play golf at Highland Park. So that spurred passion for both of us to play golf and really led to 30-year careers for both of us in the game. So there's stories like this, hundreds of them, that play the golf course. So thanks everybody here for keeping the golf course. It could have been turned into homes or something like that. And we're on our way to sustainability. You'll see that in a minute.
Okay. We had a presentation. She's trying to get it up. Okay. Where did the director go? Oh, there she is. Oh, 344.
Fine. Well, let's wait. Give her a second. Okay, here we go. Slides are coming up. So quickly, the mission of Highland Park, of the foundation, we're a nonprofit entity, is really two things. One is to fix the course, and two is community involvement. I think the third thing that's not listed is really sustainability. So can the golf course maintain itself without any subsidies, and how quickly can we do it? Clicker? I gave it to Jasmine.
I emailed it to you yesterday.
Give her 1 minute, then I'll keep going.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead with the presentation. I got some initial
No worries.
I got some initial questions until we get this up. Hold on just a second here. the transfer in, I guess this question is to director. Director, the transfer in, it on page 344, it grew to 909,000. Can you, 244. Can you explain that, Director?
Yeah, sure. So to the chair, so these are the revenues generated by the golf course. So we are budgeting. I know there's a new, and I'm sure the folks from the golf course can talk to this. I believe there's a new practice range at the golf course. So that should bring in additional revenues. So we're budgeting a little bit more there. As you can see, there's a history of revenue growth here. So that's why we bumped that up a little bit.
Okay, so now I understand the revenue growth, and that's the bottom line on page 344, right? The revenue is steadily growing over time, but our transfers in, that's the money that the city puts in to support the golf course, correct? That's also what's growing.
I had my page with my notes on it. So I believe that's the case. I believe that's the subsidy.
That's the subsidy.
Yeah.
So to my understanding, I thought our subsidy would steadily decline over time.
So to the chair, that was the idea and the hope. That has not been the pattern thus far. We had an initial decline after 2023, but there has been some growth in the subsidy.
Okay, all right. If we go to page 339, right, on the golf courses, we say a small enterprise fund summary. The revenues are projected to grow 531,000 for the year of 2026.
Yeah, through the to the chair, that's correct.
And the expenditures are also growing. So that leaves us with the balance of we're going to be $51,000 short, correct?
To the chair, that's correct.
So the transfer in, so can you explain to the money, why are we transferring in almost $1 million over $900,000? Got you.
Kevin, we're ready. I've got some answers to that. We're not going to get that. I'm just going to do it.
Okay, we're not going to get that. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. To the chair, yes, that is the subsidy, and yes, that is what we're gonna owe the golf course this year.
So my question is, if the revenues are expected to exceed the expenditures, $51,000 from page 339, then why are we transferring in over $900,000?
Through the chair, or to the chair. So the actual revenue that the golf course is collecting, the budget for 2026 is only 1.65 million. The total budget for the golf course for expenses is 2.61 million. So that's why we have to transfer in from the general fund.
Okay, now what page is that on?
That's on page 344.
And that's down where it says under revenues.
To the chair, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead with the presentation. Can we go ahead with the presentation, then we'll go back to questions.
Sounds good. Thanks. And everybody has, or you should have a magazine in front of you. That's just a little marketing. That magazine actually went out to every person with the golf handicap in the area. So it's pretty good. You'll see a little Highland Park. It tells the story of what we're doing. So just to kind of continue, again, our mission is build the golf course, rebuild the golf course, and help the community. So to that, we opened up a brand new driving range. So this opened up in October. It's going to open again this season. And in October, our first month, we did $20,000. It's projected to do $190,000 this year. These are revenue centers. This is a revenue center that we did not have last year. So that's to your point. Facility improvements in 2025. We've got a new fleet of used golf carts, drainage improvements, overall course improvements all over the place. One thing that we did is we changed our point of sale system. It's saving us. We were paying 3,000 rounds of golf for this system. This year we should only pay about 2,500 rounds. So we're saving money in a lot of different ways to help the facility. Additional improvements, new greens, irrigation improvements, bridges on the golf course if you've ever been there, needs bridges badly. So that's kind of what we're doing with the facility. What we've done, community involvement in 2025. And we had a community golf day. So we had about 130 kids come out. About 50 of those were from the rec centers. We had big Tonka trucks and course tours, and the kids had a good time. It was actually a very successful event, I thought. We're partnered with First Tee. We're one of the few courses to partner with First Tee, one of the first few host facilities. And we host weekly golf clinics, and we see the First Tee guys out all the time at Highland. More junior golf. We host about 12 different high schools, including the Cleveland Senate League, Cleveland Heights, Laurel, Gilmore, Beechwood, Shaker Heights. I'm the golf coach at Shaker, believe it or not. So Highland hosts all these kids. It's really a community place, including Cleveland. Yep. This is a neat story. I wish you could see this picture. We've purchased from a local Cleveland designer golf attire. So we're the only golf course in the country to have this attire, and we hope that it's going to go to Scottsdale someday and all the other Troon facilities. So we're investing in the community that way. Guy's name is David Ford, if you know that name. Facility improvements planned for 2026. Newer cart paths in some places, bunkers, tree removals, parking lots. And the biggest thing we're doing is we're renovating the golf course. We've replaced 2 new holes. We're redesigning it. So that's why some of the revenue is down, is because the course is really not complete. The course will be completed after this year. So we've gone through, last year was a transitional year, this year is a transitional year, and then 2027, we're going to be rolling with driving range, full 36 holes, and we've seen what the property can do when it's fully ready to go. More junior golf. We're hiring a director of instruction, so we're going to have a lot more instruction. More people play, more instruction leads to more play. So that's the Golf Academy. Resident card, this is good. 18% of overplay volume are Cleveland residents at Highland. That's up from 16% last year. Cleveland residents get a free rate card, so you get about a 10-15% discount depending on what day you play. And if you're not a Cleveland resident, you can buy that discount card for $20. So last year we sold about 400 cards. This year, 500, 600 cards. So those are just discount cards available to everyone. Financial projections, just to close this up. This year, 2025, we did 40,000 rounds. 2026, we're planning for 55,000 rounds, which is just about where we were in 2023. Revenue, we're projecting 1.8 million and a loss of 281,000. We are on track to turn a profit in the 2027-2028 season. So once we have the range, we have both courses active, ready to go, we should be fully sustainable.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So can you leave us with a projection sheet?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I got one, that's all I got.
Can we make copies of this?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to questions from the committee. First, I'm going to go to Councilman Mike Blanchett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and to the Director of Parks and Recreation, to folks that are here from Highland. As everyone knows who's ever followed these committee hearings, the budget hearings, I have repeatedly stated over the years that we should not be in the golf course business. We got rid of Seneca, flipped that over to Metro Parks, and they have turned it into a top flight golf course. And we do not have to concern ourselves with the way it's being run. I was here when this presentation was made about keeping Highland because Metro Parks would have took it. I want to say that again. Metro Parks would have took Highland. And my personal priorities on behalf of my constituents are parks, playgrounds, our rec centers for our children and our adults. That's been always been my priority. And we were told at the time, and we know that the mayor promoted this new concept here, Mayor Bibb. We were told that this park, this golf course, in a very short period of time would be able to support itself. So now we're seeing again that we are subsidizing it more than we have in the past. But yet the administration, Mr. Chairman, just constant within the last several weeks, as we all know, last several months and what months, constantly bemoan the fact that we are subsidizing Burke Airport. That we, the citizens, were subsidizing Burke Airport. And now, do you realize we're subsidizing this golf course twice the amount that we're subsidizing Burke Airport? Now think about that for a moment. Twice the amount of what we're subsidizing Burke Airport, which we don't even subsidize out of the general fund, is out of the enterprise accounts. We're subsidizing this golf course twice the amount of money. So my concern is this, and I want to say this, I'm directing this really to my colleagues. We got to make some tough decisions here. What did we hear all morning? We don't have enough, we don't have enough revenue for urban forestry. We don't have enough employees and equipment and for recreation. All of us can put together a list of parks and playgrounds and Lord knows what that we need to have improved in our neighborhoods. I could go to the Collinwood Rec Center and point, 15 years old, and point to the things that need to be repaired at Collinwood Rec Center. And here we are subsidizing the golf course. This year proposed $2,559,378. Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, in all due respect to the folks that are here, and I'm sure they're passionate about golf. I'm not, I'm sure, but they're passionate about golf. I'm passionate about recreation for kids. Metro Parks, at the time, they were interested in taking it over, or at least thinking about it, that they were going to implement everything we wanted, including youth golf enrichment programs. So we have to make a decision here. Do we continue to be in the golf business and have to subsidize this? And again, what did we hear for the last, God knows, again, a couple weeks, several months? Oh, you guys are subsidizing Burke Airport. Give me a break. Give me a break. I mean, really. Different strokes for different folks.
Been down here long enough.
I've seen it all. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly down here. And so we're going to have to make, and all due respect to the people from the, you know what, I'm going to make this pretty quick. I want to know who's working at the golf course, because we're subsidizing it. I want to know who's working there and what they're getting paid. What if they're being paid hourly, or what if they're being paid salary. I want to know who's working at Highland Golf Course, since we are subsidizing it to the point of being recommended $2.5 million, twice of what we're subsidizing Burke Airport. I mean, really, come on now, ladies and gentlemen. We got to make some tough decisions. My suggestion is we go back to the Metro Parks, and maybe they can work out a deal with these gentlemen and the people who involved, so they can continue their vision, what they'd like to see. But this in 2026, I am totally opposed to subsidizing the golf course. It makes no sense. We should be subsidizing recreation for our kids in our neighborhoods. That's what we should be subsidizing, not golf courses. And I rest my case, Mr. Chairman. What we've been provided to us by the administration, I appreciate it. The budget is here on page 344, and it speaks for itself. So that's where I'm at. But I'm making that official request. I want to know who's working out there and what they're making. I want to know the number of employees and what they're making out there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Plinsick. Next, I'm going to go to Councilman Kevin Conwell.
No, I echo this. Councilmember Mike Plinsick, matter of fact, he and I just inherited more property, more land in our neighborhoods. And we have a lot of abject poverty, and the residents are calling us with a lot of issues and concerns. If we give $2.5 million in this direction, we have a lot of abject poverty. We hear gunshots in the neighborhood at night. We have people with roofs are falling in. Children need food, and they go into Glenville High School and places like that. We have a lot of abject poverty. Me and this guy, the area that we just inherited. So how can I explain to my bosses, my board of directors, that we supported $2.5 million? Right. How can we tell them that? Take a ride with us.
Hold on, Councilman Plinsick. Mr. Gentile?
Through the chair to the councilman, just wanted to point out that the total amount of the golf course is the 2.5. They are being subsidized by $909,000, but
I can't give that much.
I'm just
Hold
saying.
on,
I just want
Councilman.
to make sure we're talking about the correct numbers. That's all. They're getting subsidized $909,000 proposed this year to balance the expenses versus the revenues, but they are projected to bring in $1.6 million. It's still short their expenses, so we are subsidizing by $909,000.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
Point of reference. We need to put in, let's say, close to $1 million. Yes. And so Councilman Conwell have a lot of abject poverty through the chair in his neighborhood that he just inherited, that I got to deal with. Boys Town is over there. 12212 St. Clair for Eddie Road. I have to deal with maybe Job Corps might close down. All that blight that's over there, and then I have to put money. I can't afford to do that. Here's what we do have, Mr. Chairman and Council President. We have limited resources. So I'm not there for this right here. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I have too much abject poverty in my neighborhood, Mr. Chairman, and that's where I'm at. I don't care if it's $1 and in my neighborhood is hurting, because you have to justify this. And that's where I'm at. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Conwell. Go to Councilman Charles Life.
Thank you, and for what it's worth, I would be shocked if the residents of my neighborhood knew that Highland Golf Course existed or was city-owned. It's just so far away from where I live, so I sort of don't have a strong opinion on it one way or the other as anything. But I do have some questions about the budget, because I'm flipping between 344 and 339. So I'm gonna grab those, and then we have this 5-year profit loss projection, all right? So if I'm reading this right, the carryover balance, the available funds on hand right now is $51,747, and that is the difference between the expenditures and the revenues, why we're not having to subsidize up to the full amount. We have money. What do we project what the ending balance will be at the end of 2026, and is that somehow in this 5-year profit loss projection? Because what we're seeing here is in earnings before interest and taxes and everything that starts to go into the black in 2028, but I'm not seeing the same beginning balance. So I don't know if this is a difference of what the golf course is projecting versus what the city's budgeting. I'm just trying to wrap my head around all these numbers when numbers can get confusing real quickly.
Through the chair of the council, a person, in the budget book and what we've gotten is the projections for 26. I don't think anyone in finance has seen the projections going further out.
Okay.
So this is just for 26, and we did get those numbers through recreation and the golf course.
Okay, you guys can have that. I'll share with Brian. Do we know through the chair what the projected ending balance will be for 2026? I'm trying to figure out if this is going to go into the black at some point in the future, or is it just a budgeting mechanism that every year we plan for it to be zero because it's an enterprise fund and it's usually on either side of that?
To the chair of the council person, yes, we usually balance this to zero if it's not deriving a profit. So we're only subsidizing to get this to balance based upon projections for 26.
All right. So to make an analogy, because Councilman Plensick brought up the airport, we've talked a lot about how whatever it costs to operate the airport, whatever delta there is between the revenues we can make as the city and what it costs to operate the airport, we charge it to the airlines and then we do a true up with them. In this scenario, we would basically true up with ourselves. So is it that if the golf course is profitable, then that comes back as profit to the general fund, or would that stay within the enterprise fund? Because my understanding has always been that it's a one-way transfer. So we can subsidize an enterprise fund, but an enterprise fund can't subsidize us.
Through the chair of the council person, yes, that's correct. I mean, it's a one-way transfer under law for enterprise funds.
Okay.
You can only subsidize them. They cannot subsidize the general fund.
Okay. I understand why enterprise funds exist and that they are not structured to be revenue producing, Chairman, but I guess it's a little worrisome that the system we have always puts us on the hook for the loss, but we never benefit from not only do we not benefit from the gain, but there's not really an incentive to benefit from the gain, to seek one, because that's not how an enterprise fund is supposed to be structured. So it's just an odd dilemma. I'm kind of having a stream of consciousness moment, so I apologize for that, Chairman.
To the chair of the council person, I mean, the enterprise fund is supposed to derive a profit, so this is pretty unusual that we have enterprise funds at the city that don't. And some would say you should reclassify these and put them under the general fund if they're not going to derive a profit. That's a whole nother accounting discussion at some other point if it never derives a profit. So if the golf course does derive a profit in the near future, it would stay in the golf fund. It would be used probably primarily for capital improvements and things. Now, if it exceeded it greatly, we'd have to talk about what we could do with that excess money that's in the golf course fund.
All right. I think to the chair, I would like to understand, and maybe this is more than what we can discuss right now, the plan for gaining profitability within the next 5 years. I know we've talked about this one before, and that there's always been a trajectory, but trying to understand what the plan. So in year 2030, for example, as proposed, if there's a $206,000 surplus, how would those funds be used? And perhaps there is another variation of this conversation that a retention of the golf course would be folded into the enterprise fund, and it could be used as a way to subsidize other city programs, one being the golf course, like treated as just another division within rec, within the general fund. This is me thinking out loud, and that's risky, so I'm going to leave it there.
All right, thank you, Councilman Slife. Next, I'm going to go to Councilman Chris Harsh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll let the beating continue. So, through the chair to the gentleman at the table, you said you had 40,000 greens fees last year, I believe.
Frowns.
Through the chair, how many unique visitors is that? If everybody goes 4 times a year, that's 10,000 people. What's the number of unique visitors?
Estimation would probably be
25,000 of the 44,000 rounds, about 25,000.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, I heard you say something about like Shaker schools and other areas that use. What are the other school districts that utilize Highland? Through the chair. I know you already said it because you were.
Yeah, there was a giant, there's 18 schools. I can
18?
read those again.
No, that's fine. 18.
And
So through the chair, I would add that, yeah, we've got a $909,000 plan transfer, $909,000 plan subsidy this year, but they're also planning to run a deficit of $51,000. So really, we could say the subsidy is actually looking at $961,000 this year. And so if you divide that by the 160 Cleveland kids that got to go play for free, that means that we spend $6,000 each to let some kids go play golf. $6,000 golf trip. And it, again, gets into the same point I had about the pool. We are subsidizing the experience of suburban neighbors while they charge us premiums to do the opposite. We are making it cheaper for the suburbs to do things on our tax dime. If I told my residents that they're spending money to help 18 suburban schools golf cheap, they'd be mad at me. They'd be real mad at me. We can't keep our pools open because the heaters are breaking. And I asked the director repeatedly what the plan was to get new heaters. And she told me a very technical answer, but the answer was not this year. We're gonna look at the chemicals this year and maybe we'll figure out the heating elements later, but yet we're spending almost $1 million a year to help suburban kids go golfing. And I understand every time I bring this up every single year that there are heartstrings attached to the golf course. And I think I understand that. It's deeply rooted in the history of the community to have the golf course, but I have to ask again whether or not things change, whether or not times change. I think there are lots of golf courses available to everybody in the region now, and having this one be subsidized by taxpayers who can't even use their own rec centers, can't use the rec center in their own neighborhood, because, and this $1 million could be used for that pool. It could be used to fix the pool in Glenville, right? I also have to ask, our accounting here isn't the same. So if I turn everybody's attention to the 5-year profit loss projection from the golf course, no, this is not the city, this is what the golf course brought us. If you look at the 2025 column, they're claiming a $566,678 loss, which almost matches the $556,015 transfer from 2024 actual. And if you add the 11 miscellaneous, well, no, that doesn't work either. They're claiming in 2024 only an $83,000 deficit, but according to ours in 2024, it was a $556. So I don't know if those columns are reversed. Their 2024 deficit of $83,000 does not match the city's transfer in. As a matter of fact, it's wildly different, like almost $480,000 difference. And in 2023, according to our city records budget, we transferred $1 million in. So I'm wondering why the profit loss projection brought to us by Highland does not match the revenue transfer in and out that's in our budget books that's been maintained by the city for many years. Through the chair to whoever wants to answer that.
So through the chair to the councilman, I can address the city's part. So this is what's actually in our accounting system and what we actually paid. I can't speak to the golf course's projections, but the numbers that are in the budget book are the numbers from our accounting and are what we paid.
Well, then I'm not an accountant, but if I were, I'd be very disturbed by this. These numbers don't match what we've got. There's either a column off and mistakes or wildly different accounting going on. And to me, that really seems inappropriate. We have to get to the bottom of that because I can't trust a projection of profitability if the past years don't align with what we have provided for us. So I don't know how to square the circle in this case. I'm not sure who does that. I'm not sure if this is something that our accounting team sits down with your accounting team to figure out why the numbers don't match. But my fear is that the subsidy is actually much larger, and that's why the numbers don't match. Now, my fear isn't that the city is being dishonest about the amount of money we're transferring. My fear is that the receiver of the funds are not doing the accounting correctly, and that would worry me greatly. So I think the horse is dead. I'll stop beating it. I've been opposed to this from day one, and every year I lose because of emotional ties to the golf course. That's all I got. I think this is a ridiculous thing for us to spend money on. If it can truly be profitable, then we can truly find a buyer. It's golf. Rich people golf. They buy golf courses. And it's so far away from us that nobody in Cleveland will even know that it ever happened. So thank you. I yield.
All right, thank you, Councilman Councilman Harsh, I'm sorry. Next, I'm gonna go to Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, how long have you had the golf course now?
Thank you. This is our third season.
And then, Mr. Chairman, to our presenter, when you sat here 3 years ago, right, with Chief Tiu on at the time, and you had this big vision for it, part of that was philanthropic. You guys were going to bring in philanthropic. So, Mr. Chairman, I forget your name, so I'll call you the presenters. I apologize for that. How much have you guys brought in the last 3 years in philanthropic dollars for the golf course?
Through the chair, I don't know that exact amount. I believe it's somewhere 300,000-400,000, and things are in the works. So you'll see names like KeyBank and big names like that coming through soon.
And Mr. Chairman, to the presenters, they're coming through soon, or do you anticipate the money? Are you just asking for the money?
Personally, I'm not involved, but what I understand is maybe a year and a half. That's just an estimate.
All right, and then let me ask you this, because I don't want to beat the dead horse either. Mr. Chairman, to the presenters, explain to us why you believe that $900,000, 961, whatever you want to count it, from taxpayers' dollars is a good investment to Highland Golf Course.
It's a temporary subsidy. The plan is for the golf course to make its own money, be self-sustainable, and it's really only a 2-year plan. So I'd like everybody to take a second, look into the future. Certainly that's $1 million or whatever it is, but look into it 10, 20 years down the road when this golf course makes money for the city, makes money for itself, and is self-sustainable.
All right, and then Mr. Chairman, to the presenters, as a small enterprise fund, can you explain to us how it makes money for the city when it can't subsidize our general fund, and anything that you raise, as Councilman Slife said, stays with that enterprise fund? So how will this eventually make money for the city of Cleveland? The answer is it can't, right? It can be an asset for the city of Cleveland, but it can't make money for the city of Cleveland. It's an enterprise fund. Any money that you raise has to stay within the golf course. And one day, I hope you're making $20 million or whatever it is you are, but it'll never be able to subsidize the general fund. So we'll never be able to get our money back that we're putting into the golf course.
Through the chair, is that we're not going to make enough money for the golf course, but where does the excess go? Where does the profits go? That's not our decision.
Well, Mr. Chairman, to our CFO, if they come to us one day and they need $0 of the general fund and they have $20 million, correct me if I'm wrong, it stays with that enterprise fund, correct?
Through the chair to the councilman, that's correct. I would say just looking at it from a neutral point of view, the way that the city could benefit is if it became highly profitable and then we ended up selling the asset and getting a gain on it.
Right, but we could do that now.
Yeah. Well, I just want to,
Right.
be fair in the analysis here.
So, okay, Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, from when you took it over to today, how many memberships have you guys occurred? Because that was a big thing to sell for us to turn it over.
Through the chair, the question is how many memberships? It's a public golf course, so we have discount cards and 0 memberships.
Okay, so how many discount cards have you?
Yeah, last year was 400. This year, through the chair, is 500.
Okay, and then, Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, how many of those are Cleveland residents?
Through the chair, 0. Cleveland residents get the card for free. So every Cleveland resident has the card.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Councilman Casey. All right, is there any other questions on Highland Park Golf Course? Council President.
I know that I was one of the people emotionally tied to it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've told everybody multiple times, I know that everybody doesn't understand this, but I have a large portion of the southeast side that are very huge supporters of Highland Golf Course. And we use it as an amenity. In the past, we subsidized it. The challenge that I think everybody's having, from the chair to the director and to the administration, is that everybody entered into this, even though colleagues really wanted to transfer it to metro parks. Everybody entered this with the assumption that we would wean out of the subsidy and that it would take care of itself. So my point is, this is why I had some concerns trying to, put it to a third-party operator, even though I'm hearing rave reviews. I gotta say that I'm hearing rave reviews. They put several equipment things in place. They put several upgrades and drainage and other things that people are speaking very highly of. This golf course is, and I know that everybody say it's about sentimental, but it's more than just sentimental. It is the only affordable golf course that many people, that I'm going to say it, predominantly African Americans on the southeast side, have a very good access to. And I know that I'm challenged too with the subsidy, but I just think we need to have a real honest discussion about what we want to do, because this golf course is very, very valuable. And you guys, some of you may not get the calls, but I will tell you that I will probably, myself, Deborah Gray, Councilman Joseph Jones, Councilman Kevin Bishop, and most of the southeast side serving council people will get tremendous amount of pressure to say this golf course is important to the heritage and to the fabric of the city of Cleveland. So all I will say is, if we have a challenge with this, we still need to make sure that this golf course is able to be a recreational asset for the city. And I'm okay with whatever we think through, but that was, and I know the operators, or a couple of the operators, we stepped out on faith because they said that, hey, they can make this viable. I don't know if some of you guys have been there, but they have actually put up a driving range and other things to bring in some revenues. This facility and amenity was meant to be very eerily similar to rec centers, even though I laugh when I say that, because as my colleague Councilman Hart said, some rec centers need to be upgraded. But part of the reason that this whole golf course was put in place was to really try to give an alternative amenity to a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity. So I'm not going to, die on this hill, because I died on it too many times before. But I will tell you, this golf course is very valuable to some residents of the city of Cleveland. And I just will leave it at that, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Council President. So let me ask you, how many acres is the golf course? How many acres? Does anybody know that? How many acres in total is the golf course?
We believe it's about 400.
400 acres? And an acre of land on this territory, in this geography in the city, how much is an acre of land? And you don't have that figure? Okay. Now let me ask you another question. The driving range. You said the driving range is fully operational right now. And how much do you expect to make per month from the driving range?
We are projecting this upcoming 2026 $190,000 in revenue.
$90,000 a month?
$190,000.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to Councilman Tanneman Shaw.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. Thank you for your presence again. I'll be honest, I've never golfed a day in my life. I don't know anything about golf, but I have friends that use this course. I personally am more than willing to talk about what the future of this might be, but what I'm hearing is that the driving range, does it have night lights? Is that something that's common at other driving ranges?
Yes, it is common, through the chair, it is common at other driving ranges. So the driving range is operable, not completely done. So you'll see top tracer range, so technology, stalls, and hopefully lights.
So putting those lights in is something that's anticipated?
It's in the plan, if not next year, shortly after.
Is that also part of what you're expecting to drive the increased revenue?
Not the 200,000 from this year. The 200,000 is just daylight, no range, no technology, just range and, no lights.
Okay. And so just so I'm understanding it right, the lights are planned. Is that in the budget already, or what's happening there?
I think in a further phase, lighting would be a very desirable thing, yes.
Please, you'll have to educate me. Like I said, I don't know anything about golf courses. I'm not going to front. But why not do that sooner if that can be a potential revenue generator for the course?
I believe that they need funding for that they're working on right now to secure.
I see. Okay. Thank you. I yield my time.
All right, thank you, Councilman Shaw. I'm going to go back to Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real quick, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO. If this council decided not to subsidize this money or the golf course, what would happen?
To the chair, to the council person, I mean, if we didn't subsidize it, they would either operate this or they wouldn't. I mean, it's only, it's
It's
one
on them,
third-
right?
It's 1/3 of the amount. I mean, I don't know how they could run it if they really need $2.5 million to run it. So it would definitely be an operational problem.
And
It probably
because,
wouldn't
and
operate.
Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, because we turned over operations to them, that would be a them problem and not a city problem. And what we would just be is we'd just have a closed golf course, correct?
Through the chair to the councilman, I mean, it is a city asset, so
Right,
it would
no,
be a
it-
city problem too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if we decided not to, it wouldn't be like it would be a financial burden on the city of Cleveland because we turned it over to a third-party operator, correct?
Well, through the chair of the council person, in this case, there is a contract with the city that kind of dictates the terms and what we're going to pay. In this case, with Highland.
And then, Mr. Chairman, to the CFO, does this contract say that we have to subsidize for $1 million a year, or at least this year?
To the chair, to the chair of the council person, I don't think it delineates that, but there are certain payments we have to make. The assumption is that the revenue was going to cover this at some point, and I
Right.
guess we're not at that point right now.
All right, and Mr. Chairman, I find it ironic that, there's 400 acres out there, and we want to subsidize it with the general fund, but we have 450 acres behind us that the administration wants to turn into a park or whatever they want to do with it, and we're not subsidizing that with the general fund. And Councilman Harsh just ran some numbers. An acre in Highland Hills is worth $71,000. At 450, that's $28,560,000 is what that land out there would be worth. Imagine how many rec centers we could fix with $28.5 million.
Parks.
And parks. And with that money, you could build a new golf course right out here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Casey, you bring up a great point. If that golf course is worth $28 million in 2026, and the city is patient, and the city can, and the Highland Park golf course can make this thing profitable in 2 years, that golf course could be worth $150 million by 2035. So I think that we have a great asset out here in Highland Hills with this golf course, and it's very, very valuable, and the value will increase over time. Just like this land down here on the lakefront. This land down here on the lakefront will steadily increase. But if we abandon ship early just because we have to subsidize this thing just a few more years, I think we're selling ourselves short in the short run. We can't see the forest for the trees. So I'm going to go to Councilman Mike Palencia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleague. And just let me say this, because I've had the historical perspective here. And I share the council president's concerns and thoughts. But those were the same concerns that were raised about Seneca when we had Seneca. Don't forget, we were in the golf course business. And so we negotiated with Metro Parks. And now that course is one of the top courses around. That's what Metro Parks had advocated at the time of doing the Highland, that they would turn it into one of the top courses around. We would not sell the property as we did. We would lease it over a 90-year period of time as we did Seneca. And so at the end of the day, we have got to make a conscious decision, those of us here. Do we need to remain in the golf business. I heard the council president's concern and passion. But again, I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I've experienced it here. Metro Parks, and I'm going to just put it out on the table, Metro Parks playing fees, I'm told, are less than what you're charging.
Through the chair, that's incorrect. We're priced in the bottom third of the city for golf courses.
Okay.
And we're lower than the Metro Parks. It's
You're-
lower than
of
Seneca.
all the
It's
Metro-
similar to Seneca, but a little bit lower.
Okay, but look at the condition of their course. Look at the condition of their golf courses. They're primo. They're top flight golf courses. The friends of mine, again, I'm not a golfer, but my friends of mine that go there said when we turned Seneca over, Metro Parks completely reimagined that golf course. So I understand you guys are in the golf business. This is what you want to do. But see, on this side of the table, we're in the finance business. And we got to figure out how to run a city. We got to figure out how to, and if you were sitting here in this whole discussion about parks and recreation, you heard it firsthand.
All about money.
We can't get this fixed. We can't get that fixed. We da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Our rec centers need to be enhanced. Our parks need to be enhanced. So from my perspective, it's not like it's going bye-bye. From my perspective, and I would love to be in discussion with Metro Parks to hear what their thoughts are about this. I think we have to make a conscious decision. Do we continue to just do things the old way, and not think about the future and what we need to be doing here? So that's where I'm at. I've stated my position over the years. I supported the transfer of Seneca, the lease with Seneca. I advocated that lease. And I'm advocating once again that we sit down with Metro Park. We still get a golf course. See, for people, it's like somehow the golf course is going to go away. No, it's not going away. But we'll have a top flight golf course, and we won't be subsidizing the living hell out of it. And we can focus on what's important to our neighborhoods. So I'll leave it at that. And I appreciate the president's comments and you Mr. Chairman, because there has been an emotional connection to this. But also there was an emotional connection to Seneca, I can tell you as well, because I was here for that debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Plensick. Now, let me ask you, Councilman Plensick, do you recall what year the Seneca was transferred over?
Man, that was no. That was some time ago. And we were prepared to do Highland too, and then at the last minute it was this, no, we're going to hang on to Highland, and we have subsidized it ever since. We're subsidizing Seneca too. And we just made that decision that we were going to get out of the golf business and focus on recreation in the neighborhoods. That's what our focus was. We should have done it at the time. We've tried, we can honestly say we tried. We've tried to make Highland work, but it hasn't. That's the reality, because we are not in the golf course business. We're in the business of swimming pools and playgrounds. That's what we're in the business of. And we have to focus on our business. That's what my suggestion would be. Let's focus on our business. And again, maybe these gentlemen can be involved with the Metro Parks, but that's where I would go. I'd be sitting down with Metro Parks. Their parks are among the finest in the state of Ohio. Those of you who are golfers who play at Metro Parks, you can know that. They're among the finest golf courses in the state of Ohio. I rest my case. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Plensick, I agree with some of the things that you're saying, because you're right. The Metro Parks does run a fine golf course, but I'm sure that the Metro Parks took longer than 2 years to bring Seneca from where they got it to where it is today. So I think that the Highland Park Golf Course is doing a great job with the amount of time they had the course. Now, we can't expect miracles happen in 2 years or 2.5 years, but I think the city has a great asset that we can grow. Now, can we make revenue from it? I think that we've made that clear here, that we're not gonna ever get any revenue from Highland Golf Course because it's an enterprise fund. But if we can grow this asset and let this asset appreciate, I think that in the long run, the city would never be at a loss. Councilman Kevin Conwell.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Where did you get this is a profit and loss to the chair sheet, right? And I was sitting back looking at it, and I couldn't figure out how you put your numbers together. And through the chair, I reached over there with the finance director, as well as do you guys have this? Is this the same thing that
Through the chair to the
Councilmember
council member, that today's the first time we've seen that.
Yeah, so we was reading off. That's why the numbers we were looking at are they the same as your numbers?
To the chair to the councilman, no.
So they were totally different. And you guys were looking at us like what Councilmember Mike Polinsky and I was reading. So what I want to do through the chair is give this P&L back to you. I'm not trying to embarrass you, but I got to have correct numbers when I sit back and look at it to read it. So that's what we're not trying to, but back to the $1 million. Back to the $1 million. Many of us need dollars and money for capital improvement in our parks and recreation centers in our community. I inherited Coit Playground in a new area in the Collinwood area. Now, we give you guys $1 million. I have sidewalks that's going up and down, and it's crazy over there. And I have a lot of abject poverty over there, and mothers won't even send their children to the playground to play. But how can I look at that mother or father, mothers and fathers together, to tell them that I okayed $1 million for you guys in that area? And you know, Director, we talked about Coit Playground over there. I need money. I need money for my residents and for my residents in that area. So that's why I'm not over there for that. My ward at one time was like this in size. Now it's like that. And I have a lot of abject poverty over there in that community. And the children in my community, they go to Glenville Recreation Center sometimes just to get a meal or to take a shower, or whatever the case may be. And that recreation center need to be rehabbed. So I heard what the council president said, but what I see in my neighborhood, I got to fight for my residents. And that's very, very important. So I can give you back your P&L, and I'm at this moment, I got to fight for my residents, and that's where I'm at with that. And if we can give it over to the Metro Parks and we don't have to put any dollars in there, we have to save money. That's just where I'm at. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Conwell. Councilwoman Deborah Gray.
Thank you, Chair. Who owns Washington Park? Because there's a driving range over there in Washington Park. Is that the city of Cleveland or is that Newburgh?
Metro Parks run that.
That Metro Park runs that.
Metro Parks run that.
Okay, all right. So since I am one of the councils that did support this, I still kind of lost with the figures, but I'm going to take the initiative to go over to Highland Park and do my tour. I always do a tour before I speak on something that I have not seen. So I don't know how many other councils here went over there, and he went over there to tour Highland Park to even try to make initiative, Chair, to see what else can be done to assist us, since half of them did not vote for it, and we did, and they voted, and they went ahead and gave us that they're okay for us to do what we need to do. But I'm gonna take the initiative to go over there and tour to see what's going on, because I'm not a golfer, but I have a host of family that are golfers, and they golf over there. And they are happy that we have something on the east side, as well as the golf course on the west side, and also in Metro Parks. So I'm gonna just stand with what I've done, and I'm gonna go do a tour, and hopefully that at the end of the day that we can sustain this and see where it goes. So,
All right, thank you, Councilman Gray. Is there any other questions on the golf course? Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Chris Harsh.
Let me try to come full circle here, because if I were trying to sell my car, I wouldn't refuse to change the oil while I'm trying to sell it.
Hold it. Could we concentrate on one speaker at a time? I know we got a lot of side conversations here, but
Yeah.
We are hard time trying to concentrate on what Mr. Harsh is saying.
So if I was trying to sell my car, I wouldn't refuse to change the oil because I haven't found a buyer yet. I wouldn't destroy the vehicle while I'm trying to sell it. So I understand if this body wants to look at this $909,000 subsidy and say, well, it's necessary to maintain it because we need not destroy the golf course if we're going to try to unload ourselves from the golf course. You know what I mean? It's kind of what Councilman Bishop was saying earlier about, did you destroy your investment, you get nothing out of it. But I hope that if we walk away from this with nothing else, we walk away from this with a severe commitment to figure out what is best for the Cleveland taxpayers, what is the best way for the Department of Recreation to serve the people of Cleveland, the people that live here, the people whose quality of life determine our population numbers. And I understand that if this $909,000 at this moment isn't going to disappear from the budget, but we should be very thoughtful about this and figure out, I'd want to have this conversation again later this year. But I understand you don't destroy something if you want to unload it.
Right. You done? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that perspective, Councilman Harsh. You know, listen, nobody wants to lose money. Everybody wants to make money, but we are at the cusp of being profitable at the golf course because we got the driving range. Now, if we go 2 years down the road and we're still not turning a profit, or the golf course is still not sustaining itself, then I would say okay, but we are just now getting started with the Highland Park Golf Association, which means that we are not in the golf business at this point in time. You guys are in the golf business, and we have to be patient with the improvements that you're making. Is bringing new swingers to the golf club, to the golf course. You're getting new customers, so I think that we are on the proper road, just we have to be a little bit more patient. But I do understand everybody wants stuff to happen right now, but at this present time, we still have to subsidize the golf course. All right, is there any more questions on the golf course before we move on? Thank you. Ms. Saban, can you read the next section to the record?
Page 293, schools, recreation, and cultural activities. Total expenditures 2025 unaudited, $1,125,000. 2026 budgeted, $1,125,000. Mr. Chairman.
Could you repeat those page numbers again? All right, Director.
To the chair, thank you for taking the time to talk about school recreation and cultural services. As it relates to parks and recreation, we certainly want to ensure that we work very collaboratively with the schools. As it relates to extracurricular activities in the schools, their program is called CEAP. I think it's Community Education and Arts Programming in the schools, and cultural activities. So we are a great partner with the schools, and really our goal overall is just to ensure that we are providing the best quality services to the community. Thank you.
Director, for the new members, can you give us a brief overview what this section does and what's the purpose of this section?
Yes, thank you to the chair. The purpose of this funding, it's been established many years ago, is to provide extracurricular activities to middle school age students at our schools.
And we give how much to this to the schools?
It's approximately $1 million, which supports out-of-school time programming, after-school programming for middle school age youth.
Okay, so on page 293 to the director, the other contractual, that covers the cost of the programs that we subsidize for the schools, for our recreation, for our kids in the recreation.
To the chair, that's correct. I mean, it's a one-to-one match, so the amount that we have coming in is the amount of the contractual services.
Now, how long have we been making this, this payment to the schools?
To
Do
the
you know?
chair, I believe that the SEEP funding goes back to the 2000s, early 2000s, 90s.
And can you talk about some of the programs that it supports?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
Can you talk about some of the programs that it supports?
Sure. So this is out-of-school time programming. I believe it's relating to sports and other activities. It is tied directly to middle school age children, providing them an out-of-school time activity that is offered through the schools. It really just supports middle school age sports and activities. And I believe it includes the costs of games, practices, any supplies and equipments that would be required for them to be involved in activities. This does keep our middle school age youth off of the streets, and it keeps them involved in something that is productive, that is of high quality.
All right, I'm going to go to Councilman Polinsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and to the director. It goes back to the inception discussion with the Browns when we were the council at the time, trying to figure out how to fund more recreational programs. What schools do you have? Do you have a list of schools that it's at right now?
Through the chair to the council member, I do not have a list of schools at this time, but I'd be happy to provide that for you.
Okay. If you could provide us a list of the schools and what specific programs are being offered at those schools and the time frames, and if there's staff people assigned to those buildings, a number of employees that are working there. My concern is this. The Cleveland Metropolitan School District, with the support of the mayor, has announced the closure of 18 buildings. Collinwood High School is one of those buildings. There's the program at Collinwood High School. I want to know through the chair to the director, where is the program going to go to? If you look at the map I presented earlier, the northeast side of the city, what's that big hole in that map now is where the Collinwood High School is. There's a pool there, there's a gymnasium there, there's other amenities there, and that's where the program's at. So someone is going to have to tell me where it's going. There's no program in the Collinwood Village neighborhood there, no other program, no other place to provide these types of services. I need to know where it's going because we're losing a critical component there that was fought for. All of it was fought for and supported by my former colleagues, Councilman Harrison, Councilman Coates, Councilman Johnson, Councilman Miller. I'm trying to see if there's anyone else that fell into that. No, on the northeast side, it would have been a northeast. So I don't know if it even goes back to the time of Larry Jones, Larry Jones Sr. But we've had this program in effect a long time, and we all supported it. So I want to know, respectfully through the chair to you, where the mayor proposes to move that program. Because we're not going to accept recreational programs being eliminated in our neighborhood. Collinwood High School is critical. As Councilman Conwell indicated about what's going on at Glenville with the Glenville Rec Center. We've got tremendous concerns on the northeast side about the lack of programming, the condition of facilities, but so I leave it at that, Mr. Chairman. This entire program is critical. It was funded by the council. In fact, it was $2 million, and it's been reduced to the $1.1 million, but it was $2 million. And so I need to understand what's going to happen there. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, Councilman Polinsky, just so we can get a better understanding, because nobody was here when this happened but you. This is for the schools on the northeast side? This was originally?
No, this is citywide.
Citywide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why it's important to break it out.
Okay. All right, let's go to Council President.
Yeah.
So just briefly, this is Schools as Neighborhood Resources. It was a program that identified gaps in the city. Sunbeam, for example, is one of the facilities that it happens at, which is in the Larchmere community. So what Neighborhood Leadership Institute did was actually identify gaps where there are not recreation centers like Collinwood, like Larchmere, a few other places across the city. I forget all of the places. And if you remember Travell Harp last year, that we actually supported him with a little bit more money. And the reason we supported him with more money is because the cost for security and other things were increasing. And that's the reason why we made sure that those programs were in place. The other thing that this actually supports, and I want to make sure I verify through the chair to the director, and this is my last question, I promise. I'm gonna follow my own rules. Is Case Western Reserve, what is the name of that program? NSP. So NSP is also funded through this as well, right?
Through the chair to the council president, that is correct.
Okay.
And we do plan to continue both of those programs.
And if anybody's seen NSP, I would encourage all council members, not just the East Side council members, but the West Side council members. This is a program to behold. This gives children an access to Case Western Reserve. It is the oldest program in the United States of America of its type, where actually they get run of the Case campus where they actually are able to do it. So this is one of those investments that covers gaps, but I do think it's important for the council to see all of the schools, because there are some West Side schools that they have gaps at as well. I believe it's like 5 to 7 schools, and then they do like tennis programs and some other things. And once again, it's ran by Neighborhood Leadership Institute.
All right, thank you, Council President. Director, can you deliver us the information what schools these dollars support, and the programs that it supports, and the ages for the children that it supports? Okay. Yes. All right. Is there any other questions? Councilman Sly?
I was hoping there were more because I'm in the middle of formulating a thought. So bear with me, and I think you'll get where I'm going. I've talked about this before. So we have. And I apologize for not being here this morning. I was at Planning Commission, so I'm inevitably going to bring up something that was probably brought up. That's just how it goes. We have recreation programming. We have this programming. We have programming through PIO. And for PIO, that's the one that I think I recall having the most data of like cost of program against number of participants. And I remember being pretty frustrated by, I think it was a tennis program where we're giving X amount of dollars to run a program, but if you look at the number of children actually participating, we're spending an exorbitant amount of money on a tennis program for very few kids. So I'm trying to wrap my head around the number of children participating in these 3 buckets of programs. I don't know if that information's available, because I'm wondering if there's a certain point where we need to start talking about not just streamlining, but also it seems that some of our thoughts about recreation programming are kind of latchkey kids from the 80s who just showed up at the rec center after school, and now kids have like smartphones, and they don't I think kids are more maybe socially introverted than they were in the past, and what do we need to be doing to try to boost attendance in our programs, not just through communications, but also just writ large, because I think I suspect we have a participation problem, but I just don't know the numbers of children participating in all these things and how we can improve it and how we can kind of leverage participation to encourage more participation. But what I don't want to be doing is finding out that we have a program at a school and there's only like 2 kids participating, and that is a certain point where I'm like, is this actually effectively achieving the thing we're trying to do? Is it giving kids something productive, or are we throwing money at a good idea but it's not coming to pass as we'd hope? So I don't know if that's something to pull together of participation for your programs and within this, and then I can ask the same thing for PIO when they're at the table.
All right, thank you, Councilman Sly. Any other questions on the school activities? All right, Ms. Saban, can you read the next section into the record?
Page 188, Division of Park Maintenance, Commissioner Toy Porch. Page 189, Salaries, 2025 unaudited, 4,792,948. 2026 budgeted, 5,298,742. Page 190, total expenditures, 2025 unaudited, 10,696,663. 2026 budgeted, 11,950,496. And page 191, staffing, 2025 actual, 83. 2026 budgeted, 100, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Ms. Saban. Director, you want to give us an intro?
Thank you to the chair. Today we have our Commissioner of Parks, Toy Porch. She's been with the city for many years. She has been the leader over the Division of Parks and Cemeteries for many years. Prior to 2025, it also included forestry and vacant lots. So she is thrilled to be focusing on parks and cemeteries. Thank you.
Greenhouse.
In the greenhouse.
Okay, got a couple questions on the park maintenance, the output metrics. So in 2014, number of gardens maintained, we went from 17 to 59. Where did that increase come from? We wasn't maintaining the gardens that we maintain in 2025. We wasn't maintaining them in 2024.
To the chair. Yes, we were. We thought it would be better just to add all the gardens in this year. So we always maintain, cut grass and clean, and for some odd reason, it just was never all totaled in there. So we thought it would be great to just total everything in there so you can get a better picture of all that we do.
Okay, can you give us an example of the streetscape maintained? You say you do 11
Yes.
in 2025?
Yes, those are the street maintenance that's around town throughout Cleveland. Council approved us to have 10 additional people, I think it was 2025, to hire for the streetscapes that we've taken over. Those are the floral arrangements that's throughout the city. I think we got one on East 22nd. That's like our newest one. There's a bridge that has one in Clifton Boulevard. So all of the street landscapes that's outside of the boulevard.
Okay. Now, on question for the director, it says on page 191, total revenues, we have a decrease in our revenues from 2024 to 2026. Why have our revenues decreased such drastic amounts?
Toy, you want me to get that?
Yes, please.
To the chair. So that's for the cutting of the weed cutting revenue that we get from the county. So that's in vacant lots, which is in Public Works admin.
Okay, so we moved all of that to Public Works.
That's correct.
Okay. And all of the vacant lots will continue to be maintained by Public Works?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, I'm going to go to my committee. Councilman Mike Valencia.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and to the director and to the commissioner. First of all, I want to always thank the commissioner for getting back to me. Every time I call her about an issue or a problem, she gets back to me, and I always want to say, to me, that's old school. When a councilman calls a commissioner, they get back and prompt and responsible, and I want to say that again. I appreciate your response back. My question is on page 191. We allocated, let me get my marbles straight here. We allocated 103 staff in 2025. At the end, we wound up with 83. Now, again, you're just proposing 100. I just want to continue the theme of today, is that I'm concerned that we do not have enough people maintaining our parks and playgrounds and our outdoor facilities. And my other part of that question and concern is, as it pertains to equipment. So I'm going to go through the chair to whoever. But I know every commissioner that comes to this table is in an awkward position because they're also at times a little leery to tell us and give us a complete and full picture. But I want to stress to the director and to the commissioner, and specifically to the finance director, this is an area of great concern to me because they have been asked to do more over the years in my time, not only just taking care of city properties, but at times trying to address vacant properties and all the other issues they have to contend with. So I don't believe the budget is adequate enough. So what's your response?
So through the chair to the councilman, I'll point out a few things and then I'll let the commissioner kind of expand on that. But first of all, I want to make it clear, you know, we went over admin. A lot of positions were moving into admin. We had a net of 8 that were moving into that at the director's direction. Those three, we're not cutting staff from Parks and Rec. We're just moving those 3 over to admin. So the budgeted amount is staying the same. And then also, you know, we do have some vacancies there, so there are some challenges. And again, the director has said that's a priority in 2026 to take care of that.
Just to that point, so if you see the 2 reduction in the administrative manager position from 25 to 26, and then 1 project coordinator as well. So those are just administrative positions that are moving over to the admin section. So there's actually 6. So technically their headcount would be 70 for full-time, but it's 76 because there's actually 6 seasonal employees that are becoming full-time employees that are moving up to full-time per the collective bargaining agreements.
Okay, but again, in all due respect, admin is not cutting grass, is not cleaning up playgrounds. I want to see folks out there in city uniforms working on our parks, playgrounds, and city facilities. And I want to say to the finance director, you have no idea how difficult it is and how not only my world, but being here the senior member, but all of my colleagues, how their world has changed on trying to get what I refer to as historically just the basic stuff done. It's difficult today, very difficult. And then when you look at the conditions, which we'll get into that at some point when we get Commissioner Nagel at the table, the number of facilities that we have to maintain throughout the city, and we're going to hopefully get that number from him. But we got a yeoman's task on our hands of maintaining facilities. Nothing's getting younger. Facilities don't get younger, they get older. Our parks get older, get heavier used than many of the suburban facilities. Like I'm on the edge of the city. My parks get not only used by my own residents, but like in the case of the Collinwood Rec Center, I got people coming in from Euclid, Bracknell, East Cleveland, et cetera, using the complex there. So I want to say to the commissioner, as I said earlier, I appreciate always her response, but Commissioner, do you believe this is adequate staff for you?
Through the chair, no.
And you know what? I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate your honesty because you didn't have to say that, okay? But I know it. You know, I know it because I've had people sit in those chairs in the past and bold-faced lie to me. And when one just admitted it recently at a recent meeting, okay? So knowing that you do not have adequate staff, do you have adequate equipment?
Through the chair, we're actually doing good on equipment this year.
Okay.
We're actually doing good on equipment, and we're doing some restructuring and repurposing of our staff. So we're getting the job done by any means necessary.
Where's your most critical area of need? Staff. Don't tell me more administrators. Tell me.
No, actually, if I'm being honest, it's our ball diamond prep.
Ball diamond prep.
Yes.
And that equates into what line item?
So it's It's actually not in here.
Okay.
It's not a line item in my budget.
Then
So-
what would that fall under?
So we get clay, we got a clay line.
Where's that at?
Hold on.
Through the chair to the council member.
Yes.
When I look at aerial images of the city, when I look at our parks, when I look at our ball diamonds,
Yes.
when I also look at our athletic fields, there's through the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission website, a website called Greenprint, and I can look back at aerial photography over a series of years. And when I do that, you can see every year, dating back, I don't know, 40 years maybe, what the images of our fields look like. Between 2016 and present, every single year, there's a continued decline in both our ball fields as well as our rectangular athletic fields. And what that indicates to me is that at some point in time, we had a crew dedicated
Yes, we
to our
did.
athletic fields.
Yes.
And somehow that was either repurposed or disbanded or something happened.
Yes.
And since that time, what we have focused on doing is providing in-season field maintenance and prep, which includes lining fields, dragging fields, and just basic maintenance. What it does not include is preseason and postseason prep, which has to do with maintaining the quality of the vegetation on the fields, or
Okay.
no vegetation on the fields, maintaining the quality of the subsurface soils. And so there's a lot more work that would improve
Yes.
the quality of our fields than we have staff to do at
Okay,
this
but
time.
then someone needs to tell us, again, what you need. Is it materials? Is it more staff? If it wasn't for Ville Angeles St. Joe's coming in and working on their own field at Humphreys, because there's 4 major diamonds there, they come in and they work on the field because they want it to be proper. They want it to be safe for the kids that are playing on their teams. But you also know there's been more and more discussions. We're trying to create more baseball leagues and participation on the east side that has weathered substantially. A lot of it's tied to schools that have been closed. In the past. So I think what you need to do, we can't promise anything on this side of the table. I don't think we ever promise anything. But tell us what you need. Tell us what you really need going into this round. Because again, I mean, yeah, and I want to say this to the finance director. You got to understand this perception that's growing across the city that the focus is the lakefront. The focus is the lakefront. And and all of my colleagues, my esteemed colleagues here, we're constantly besieged by these needs in our neighborhoods, and we can't seem to get them addressed. Or if they are addressed, they're not adequately addressed. And yet, my experience, Mr. Chairman, that I have a commissioner here, we have a commissioner who is trying her best, but not having what she needs. And so, again, as I said, I appreciate her response to me always. And I go to the parks. I grew up on Cleveland's east side. I'm in the parks. I'm in the play. In fact, I got a gas cap. One of your tractors, or somebody lost a gas cap I got in my car. I picked up at Humphreys. So I got to get you that gas cap off one of the vehicles. I'm just trying to figure out how we can, with my colleagues, how we can better address the situations that you're confronted. Because if not, you're not going to be successful, and the administration's not going to be successful. And you're going to continue to hear our complaints, as you heard them all day today, about what's not happening. So I'm asking, again, through the chair, tell us what you need.
So through the chair of the councilman, if I could just address a few things in the budget.
Yes.
We've, to address these concerns, first of all, to help the director fill these 20, now 17 vacancies. I think that's the first step, get bodies in the door and fill these vacancies. If there's additional need, I always say this with any division,
I
we're
understand
more than happy to look at that. So I would like to point out on page 189, the significant jump in salaries or full-time, under the full-time permanent line. So we have, bumped that up by $500,000. Again, part of that's the 3% increase, but looking to pay folks more if we can in these particular jobs to get bodies in the door. So that's our approach. Again, when we have 17 vacancies, I think the priority is to make sure we can get bodies in the door, and I have high confidence in the director that she'll be able to do that this year. And if she were to come back to me in 6 months or so and say, hey, I need more head count, we've got way more work to do, I'd be more than happy to sit down with her.
Well, again, you have a commissioner who just told us, being honest with us, that she needs more help to be able to perform the duties that she has to perform on behalf of our citizens, the taxpayers, our children. So I appreciate her honesty, her directness, and I'm here to help her, and I'm here to help her division. And I'm just say to my colleagues, part of reconciliation, we got to think about what we need to do to help this. This is a critical area. This is all of our parks. This is who takes care of them. This is the lady in charge of all of our park, taking care of maintenance, our ball diamonds, the playgrounds, da 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 da. This is the lady right here. And if we don't acknowledge that, then shame on us. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Councilman Linsick. Just a quick question. How many ball diamonds do we have citywide? Do you have that figure?
We have approximately 70 clay fields.
Okay.
Like 70 clay fields. And then the synthetic fields, we have 5. Grass infields, we have 32. And that's it.
Now, when you say grass infields, is that for the parks that just haven't been maintained? Because I have a park that it was a ball diamond, but it's grass in the infield now, but they don't use it anymore. So what do we consider that as? Just a regular park now?
Yeah, just a regular grass infield. They can practice football on it. They can practice softball on it, just a regular grass field.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go to Chris Harsh, Councilman Harsh.
Thank you, Chairman Bishop. So just a couple questions now that we're on to parks.
Park maintenance.
Old Brooklyn loves baseball. Play a lot of it. And Low Park is always prepared and ready to go at the beginning of the season. I always get a frantic call from somebody, about a week or two before opening day, and then lo and behold, the work is done. I guess that was a pun. But at Low Park, there is one field that we have not been maintaining. It's kind of gone. There's a grass field that is supposed to be a grass field. That's where the kids play t-ball. That's fine. But there's another field on the far eastern edge. And we are looking to reconfigure Harmony Park up north and potentially removing the baseball diamond up there and just moving all baseball activity to Low Park, which makes sense to me. So I just want to put that on the radar that we'll need that field up and running in future years. Through the chair, I am committing almost $1 million from ward funds into a Low Park refresher. Is money like that the council invests into parks? Because I know that we do spend a lot of our councilmatic ward funds, the funds that the media gets upset about. I know that we spend a lot of that money on Parks and Rec. Is that money in the budget? Like the $1 million I'm putting into Low Park, is that visible to people here? No?
The chair to the councilman. It comes out of a special fund, so it would not be in the annual appropriation.
Okay. It's curious to me because when we advocate for our neighborhoods and get funds and then put those funds into the neighborhood parks, Council President Griffin brought it up earlier today, but I would be livid if I saw a sign out there that says, Low Park Rehab brought to you by Mayor Bibb. Right, when this is money the city council fought for and that I'm putting into Low Park. And I think I'm doing it with MOCAP. I don't even think it's actually running through the Parks Department. Through the chair, do you guys do renovation work in the parks as well, or does that all go through MOCAP?
Through the chair to the councilman, it's all through MOCAP.
It all goes through MOCAP. So you're just the maintenance of the facility once it's already put together.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I will work with them and make sure that the signage is proper to let folks know where the money to clean up the neighborhood park is coming from. I had, I think, one other question about parks, except I handled it in recreation, so never mind. I yield, Chairman. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harsaw. Councilman Slife.
Turn it on. You got to turn it on, guys. Thank you. I will admit that I probably don't call you very frequently because I just go straight to Todd Alexander, but please don't take it personally.
Not at all. Todd is
For the work you guys have to do, the flexibility and being able to kind of rearrange a schedule on a moment's notice to accommodate something is always amazing to me. So I really appreciate everything that you and your team do. Just a couple thoughts. One, and again, having not been here this morning, and clearly I don't think anybody thought that Parks and Recreation was going to take up this volume of the day, but this is clearly such a passion point. Not to go off on a complete rabbit hole, but one of the reasons that I'm having hearings about Burke Airport is because there's this chorus of people that just say turn it into a park, and clearly we struggle with what we have right now, and while that would be beautiful to me, I need to understand the bigger picture and the numbers and everything before we just accept that we can take on another 400-acre park as if you're not challenged by the workload as is. You need new revenue under any circumstance, and I want to acknowledge that very publicly. Question, these 14 seasonal employees, when we look at this budget book, the actual numbers are always December 31st of the previous year, but is that not the case? Is seasonals just the number of seasonals there were over the course of the year, or is that there were 14 seasonal employees at the end of December?
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, it's as of the end of December, so those fluctuate greatly throughout the year.
Sure. So last year we budgeted for a total of 30. Is that essentially then 30 at a time we're able to have, or is that 30 over the course of a year?
Yeah, through the chair to the councilman, that's 30 at any given time. So we've got 30 slots for seasonal employees.
Okay, so thank you. That's helpful. So, Commissioner, we are budgeting for 6 fewer seasonals. Were you able to get up to 30 at any given time, or is 24 more of a reflection of our, because there's been times where we've had to reconcile with the fact that we may want 300 seasonal employees, but we're not going to get there, so let's be realistic.
So these, through the chair to the councilman, these seasonals are city seasonals. These are not seasonals from anywhere else. So we break ours up financially into 2 groups, a 50-week group and a 28-week group. So the 28-week group are typically in during our summer season, during our heavy grass cutting season, and on at the beginning of our leaf season. So they go after 6 months. Through negotiations with the labor union, we had to turn 6 of our seasonals into full-time.
Gotcha.
6 of the 50-weekers.
Okay, and through the chair, your leaf is leaves and within parks. That has nothing to do with tree lawn leaf pickup, correct?
No, not at
okay,
all.
thank you. My main question or thought is the only thing I could even begin to the only criticism I hear regularly is about grass mowing typically in May, and I think it's just and please don't take it personally. It's just the grass grows very quickly in May, and the reasonable answer is it's not prudent to hire people for a 4-week problem. You're not going to. So I would almost, I guess the question would be, is there a ability to boost the number of seasonals to kind of beef up staffing in May? And do we have other workflow for them to do through the year? Because I see that there's such a need for grass mowing in May. The 3-week cycle typically isn't enough. And I would be interested in adding more positions, but I don't want to find out that we're having to hire people for a minimum amount of time and then there's just nothing to do, even though it's sort of doesn't stand up to experience to think that there could be nothing to do. Like, would you be, I guess let me put it this way. Can you get us the numbers within the budget of like what a seasonal worker actually costs? like with the hourly, so we can figure out if we want to supplement the budget with seasonal workers, that we could come up with a more defined number of what we want to supplement the budget with, so that you would be able to hire more seasonal workers for things like grass cutting in May.
So I will, through the chair to the council, so I will say this. We also, on top of these city seasons, we also get summer help too through the agency. So we get our seasonals on two different ends. We get the 50 and 28 weekers, and then we get the summer seasonal help through the agency.
Okay.
And the city seasonals, they make what the baseline of what a real estate maintenance worker make, and currently they're at $21.92 per hour.
Okay. So I might do some math, and through reconciliation, I do think that it would be valuable to invest in some more seasonals during peak seasons. With that, we touched on baseball diamonds. We have too many. You said 70-some clay. Could we get, so what I've understood is that the difference between a clay field and a non-clay field comes down to league use. We have realized that it's not a good use of our time and money to drag in fields that aren't being used for league play. Are all 78 or 70-some clay fields being used for league play, to the best of your knowledge?
No, we typically, we're only staffed enough to drag in line fields that are that are assigned to leagues. So when recreation assigns the staff, the leagues to play on the field, then that's the ones that we line and drag.
Okay, thank you. Could we?
The permitted,
Yeah.
sorry.
So through the chair, could we get a breakdown of all baseball diamonds and whether they are a grass infield, a clay infield, and of the clay, which ones are being dragged and lined for league play? Because I think it would be useful for us. I think, frankly, for the ones that we've let the infield grow in, I think the cost-effective thing to do in 9 out of 10 of those situations would be to pull down the fence and stop pretending like, because I've get people that are like, we'd love to go and use that for even practice, but you know, it's still masquerading as a ball diamond, and maybe we need to just take down the fence and absolve ourselves of a fence maintenance. But I think understanding what fields are being lined and dragged will help us understand the market demand for baseball right now in Cleveland, which I suspect is less than it was generations ago. And final question, included in those, are there other situations like Maplewood Park in the city where like that it's a city-owned park, but we are not dragging it, we are not lining it, like they are kind of leased out to an operator? And would those be included in our numbers?
No.
Okay, Maplewood's a standalone? Okay, well then that's easy for me to know. I will just add that in my own head. So, last question. In the Parks Master Plan, whatever analysis thing it was, I'm sorry, Director, I forget the name of it. One of the, I think, more compelling recommendations was, and the people from Philadelphia, the consultant said that we are obsessed in Cleveland with cutting grass. And if you see grass in Cleveland, you got to cut it. And they said, you know, a lot of cities have areas of their parks that are like wildflowers and natural grasses, and it's intentionally an area that's left to kind of be part of nature. And in addition to being you can cut a path through it and have it be something to enjoy, but in addition to having ecological benefits, aesthetic benefits, it also makes less grass for you to mow. Has there been an analysis of where we could implement that around the city and we could try to decrease the real estate of grass that you have to mow every season?
Yes, we actually already do that. It's called the no-mow zone, and we do it on the Opportunity Corridor. One of my main goals for this year is to see where I can do it on the boulevard. Particularly, we're going to take a drive out. We're thinking somewhere on the upper boulevard to see if we can implement that. It's working. For Opportunity Corridor, we're able to utilize more time to cut other areas. When we first got the 3.1 mile stretch of land, my biggest worry was how we're going to get this cut, you know, timely all the time. But when we introduced the no-mow zone, it really does work. And I've been getting a lot of positive calls about it. So I would like to implement it in other places as well. So we're going to take a look at that this season.
Okay, thank you. Because I think that, like, for example, Tuland Park, I think that it could be an opportunity for like a no-mo area in a large neighborhood park, and that would allow you to maintain the rest of the park more efficiently, more quickly. So I'd love to stay engaged on that. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Slife. You brought up a great point there. I think they do that in some metro parks. They have some no-mo zones. Now, when you say the upper boulevard, what boulevard are you referring to?
Martin Luther King Boulevard, where the greenhouse, where the cultural gardens are at.
Okay. That's the northern part.
Yes.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Thank you for the maintenance of the greenhouse. I think the greenhouse is an underappreciated city asset. It's a great place to go in winter. We did our wedding photos there. It's an annual tradition to go to. If you haven't been to the greenhouse recently, go. There's been a lot of investment in it, and it's a really great place on a gross Cleveland day. So thanks.
I appreciate it. We got a new manager over there, Carrie Stead. She just started with us last year. She's great.
Okay, is there any more questions for park maintenance? Seeing no questions, can we read the next section into the record?
Page 341, cemeteries, 2025 unaudited salaries, $1,070,395. 2026 budgeted, $1,314,599. Page 342, 2025 unaudited total expenditures, $1,997,188. 2026 budgeted, $2,636,594. Page 343, 2025 staffing level, 19. 2026 budgeted, 25. Chairman.
Wife with his dinner.
Happy anniversary, Jim. Happy anniversary, Jim. Love you.
Cemeteries, 341.
Okay, all right. It's 341, page 341. All right, Director, we got an increase in salaries. Is that what I'm seeing? We have an increase in salaries? Can you explain the increase in salaries?
Yeah, to the chair. So again, we have raises across the board here. There's a little bit of a decrease, so it's not a full 3%, just because they are carrying some vacancies, 6 vacancies at this point. So we did have increases due to the raises, but it was based on the fact that they had only incurred a charge of $852,000 last year, and are still carrying those vacancies.
Okay, can you explain under contractual services, under other contractual, what is other contractual? What does that consist of?
Through the chair, or to the chair, that is their Snyder Blake contract for their seasonal workers.
Okay. And credit card processing fees. Where do we get credit card processing fees in cemeteries?
So to the chair, my note, and they can talk more to the operations, that these are for increased processing fees for new chapel services.
Okay. And on page 342, total expenditures, I see our expenditures kind of ballooned up. Why is that?
So to the chair, if I'm looking at what you're looking, expenditures would include the increase in salaries, which flows down to an increase in benefits, some additional tuition fees throughout, and then the price of, if you look under utilities as well, you've had some increases. We actually were over budget in things like broker gas supply and a few other things. So that's why that's going up.
Okay, now under revenues at the bottom, where do we get our revenues for the cemeteries? Can you explain that?
So we sell, through the chair. We sell vases, and we do headstone setting fees at the cemeteries, and the opening and closing. So that's where the revenue is coming in, the selling of the graves.
Okay, so park maintenance maintains the cemetery also, right? You cut the cemeteries?
Yes, we have a cemetery staff.
Okay, all right. All right, I'm going to open up to my colleagues. I'm going to go to Councilman Polisic, and then I'm going to come back to Harsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, to the commissioner, and to the director. How many cemeteries are we maintaining at this point?
Through the chair to the councilman, 12.
12? And some of those go back, I'm assuming, to the close to the inception of the city, right? Okay.
Correct.
Are all, not all, I know Highland is not full, but are there actual cemeteries that are full at this point?
Through the chair, actually, majority of them are full. Majority of them are inactive. We have 2 active cemeteries.
Wait a minute.
Which is
Okay, 2 active.
Cleveland Memorial Gardens and West Park Cemetery. While we're not open to selling graves at Highland Park Cemetery, we get people that sell graves back. So we still bury there, but it's not an active, we wouldn't call it an active cemetery.
So the 2 active again are what?
CMG, Cleveland Memorial Gardens, which is on Green Road,
Yes,
and West Park Cemetery, which is on Ridge Road.
and West Park. Okay, so
And,
explain
and Pottersfield as well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. And so again, I'm not confused. So on Highland is not full.
Highland is technically not full, but it's all the grave spaces are sold.
Are sold. Okay, okay. Okay. And I think to the viewing public, this is, when we talk about legacy and historical responsibilities, because if we did not maintain these cemeteries, nobody would.
So cemeteries is very near and dear to me. I started there
Yep.
when I was 18 years old.
Yeah,
And so when you talk about cemeteries, I could just talk about it off the top of my head.
right.
So I remember, and I know the history there. So
Yeah.
I totally understand. I was there when the old building was there. It's beautiful and new now, but
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those responsibilities we've had to assume over the years because, again, if it was not the city, you can only imagine what they would be like. So on that point, how many, do we have any indication, we have, how many indigent burials we do a year?
I can get that number for you. I don't know off the top. I don't know right now.
And that's something that we cover entirely? Is that?
Yes, we only do cremations now. Years ago, decades ago, they did full bodies and some cremains, but I know they do all cremations now. They don't do any more full bodies.
Okay. But that burden, that cost burden falls on us, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The county writes us a check for the opening and closing of it. Though.
Open
But
and
we-
closing.
Yeah,
But other than that, we assume
correct.
the
The
cost.
responsibility of the actual grave.
Okay. The number of maintenance people, you, on page 343, went down to 19, you're proposing to go back up to 25. Is that adequate at this point to stay on top of the cemeteries?
So we went up to 25 because we added 5 seasonals.
Right.
Typically, because I was over the whole division, we shared the load, so I would send some seasonals over to cemeteries. People continue to die, so that's a place that doesn't close down.
That's
So
exactly.
we added 5 more. We added 5 more people there as seasonals, and they come through our heaviest months. Cemetery doesn't really have a heavy month. They're just heavy. And so we hire them on through, they're 28 weekers, and they usually come on through the grass cutting season to get us through Memorial Day, Mother's Day,
Yes.
the big holidays, Veterans Day.
I guess the only plus side is that we don't have too many, or no one complaining
Trying to get in
who's
there.
an occupant, okay? But we might have some families complaining, as we have had over the years. So you'll get us the number of indigent burials, et cetera. And then my last question, the cemetery on the west side that was taken over by the homeless, what's the status of that?
Today, they're gone.
They're gone, okay. Because I was getting calls into my office by some of the veterans who were concerned about the condition and what was taking place there. Okay, so they've all disappeared.
Yeah, they've been housed,
They've
and we are now in the process of restoring the areas.
Okay, okay. Is there anything that we need to know, that council needs to know for the good benefit and welfare of the cemeteries that we don't know?
No.
No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, Councilman Blinsick. Councilman Harsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know it's late in the day. I'll try to save all my jokes about how to reduce cemetery use. But on the revenue side of the cemeteries, there was some folks came in to visit a cemetery in my ward. They were concerned about vandalism. They actually got the news out there. It was unfortunate because my man John Novak took me out to the cemetery and explained to me that cemeteries are ravaged by time and trees, not vandals. And it was really eye-opening. But unfortunately, the people did have one point that I took to heart, which was that we have like Civil War dead in our cemeteries. Cleveland's that old. My great-great-grandfather was in the Civil War. I understand that we want to respect these folks for many generations. There are people out there that that do fundraising for maintaining headstones for these veterans and stuff. Through the chair, do we like actively pursue any of these funds to help us maintain our cemeteries, because they actually ended up coming back out and doing a whole thing about gravestone cleaning, and it was, you know, it was a good event, and I'm wondering if we're proactive on efforts like that at all.
Short answer, no. The long answer is I feel like I think every veteran out there is equally as important.
Sure.
So it's not just this veteran in this cemetery is more important than that one. So if I have a mindset that if we can't give love to all of them and not have a plan for all of them, then I'm not sure how we can just do one. I get calls often about that, and when they come up with a good plan that includes everything, then I'm okay with it. I'm even okay with if they want. I have a crew that ran into a group that wants to do it at a specific cemetery, and we meet next week, I think, about just talking about a plan on how they can get redo the headstones. We don't, the cemetery doesn't own the headstones. We just
Right.
own the property that the headstones
Right.
are on. So we really have we don't have to do, fix up your headstone. Now, over time, all the headstones, the names go away over time. We got headstones out there that just look like a rock because the name has worn off. We have people through genealogy, they want to come and, I want to do something with this whole section. The headstones from the veteran are free. They just have to pay the headstone setting fee. And we've had groups over the decades that went through the Veterans Administration to get new headstones, and we're okay with that. And that's fine, so.
It seems like maybe an untapped revenue source for maintaining some of our cemeteries when they topple over time, and they're expensive to set back up because they're heavy and you got to get equipment out there. And if there's revenue out there floating around available for it, we can put it into the big pile in the middle and then maintain cemeteries with it. But that was my only thought. I just wanted to ask. So thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harsh. I got one question. The Harvard Cemetery, is that maintained by the city? I just got that in my ward, this new redraw.
So Harvard Grove is one of our cemeteries, not to be confused with a little small cemetery right next door to it on the Harvard side. It's a private cemetery. That's not ours.
So what's the name of that other small cemetery?
I don't know. But
Okay.
I do know I get calls for that all the time. And they say the small cemetery in the little gate. I'm like, that's not
Yeah.
ours. But
Okay.
they maintain it as well. I remember one year, I don't know what happened. We ended up kind of cutting it because we were cutting ours. And I just told them to cut the tree line.
Okay, all right. All right, any other questions on cemetery?
How many years, Commissioner?
This year is my 28th year. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on cemeteries? All right. Ms. Saban, can you read the next section into the record?
Page 295, Cleveland Stadium. Total expenditures, 2025 unaudited, $13,247,920. 2026 budgeted, $16,200,000, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I know, Director.
If I could, to the chair, through the chair to the committee, there is a green sheet. This is our only green sheet today for
Okay.
Cleveland Stadium. This is page 295. So incorrectly, there was a line item added for $17 million. That was an error that has been removed in the green sheet, and the numbers changed to reflect the actual numbers.
Okay. All right, from experience, I know Councilman Plensick has a question on the stadium.
Oh, you're through, Mr. Chairman, asking a question?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead, go
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to the Finance Director. As of today, on the Cleveland, of this budget, what do we still owe on the Cleveland Browns Stadium?
Through the chair to the councilman, we owe about $25 million in principal, which comes out to about $28 million after we pay interest over the next 3 years. So all of those bonds will be paid off as of the end of 2028 when the lease is up.
Okay, so approximately 20, and you'll get us the exact number, and I will request that. So approximately 25 million in principal and 28 million in debt service.
Yep. Through the chair to the councilman, that's correct.
Okay. There was the issue with the Browns requesting another $12 million in capital repair. Where does that show up at?
Through the chair to the council.
Over the next 3 years.
Member, I believe your question is in reference to improvements, capital improvements?
Yes.
So as it relates to stadium improvements, everything is only, is boiled down to safety and emergency only.
Okay, but where is that? There's a dollar amount associated with this year.
So
What is
that dollar amount will be found in the MOCAP budget.
Okay. So the capital, you don't know what it is.
I can look in the budget book. However, at
All
this
right.
time, I don't have it. Thank you.
We'll get them when we get here. So MOCAP will cover the capital repair.
Correct. And it is limited to life safety and emergency only.
Okay.
And through the chair to the councilman, obviously we'll be scrutinizing that, extra hard as, we come closer to 2028 to make sure that we're only spending it on, safety related stuff.
So 2028 is when the lease is up with our soon-to-be vacated Cleveland Browns, correct? For the viewing public?
Through the chair to the councilman, that's correct.
Okay. There was also a $6 million figure that they indicated we still owe them for past repairs. That would be MOCAP as well?
Through the chair, are you referring to the $2 million that we have to pay for 15 years?
No, they said that they made capital repairs and that we did not reimburse them. And that figure I have written down is $6 million.
Through the chair to the council member, the only instances in which I'm aware that the city reimburses the Browns for improvements
Right.
is when there are unplanned emergencies that arise.
Okay.
I know there was one, there was a large concert several years ago, and there was some emergency, I believe, sewer and plumbing repairs. This past summer, there were some issues with sewage and plumbing, similar situation. And these are just totally unplanned. And I believe that also comes out of the MOCAP budget. So this might be a question to ask.
Okay, because I have that figure written down. It was $6 million for allegedly they did things and that they wanted us to reimburse them for, allegedly according to the lease. So to the viewing public, what is the subsidy to the stadium this year?
So through the chair to the councilman, it's going to be 11 million. That's what we budgeted in the 2026 budget, and you can see that in the
So that would be the transfers in.
through the chair to the councilman. That's correct.
So $11 million. Are there any other funds besides the 11 million that we're putting in?
Through the chair, per the agreement, we have the $2 million that we transfer in for capital repairs.
And that's going to be for this year.
That's correct.
Okay. So then the 12 million that we have on some of our documents that they've indicated for capital for the next, just over the next 3 years, where did that figure come from? Because that figure was given to us when we had the discussion with the legislation, the Browns legislation that was before us.
Through the chair of the councilman, could you repeat the question again?
It was that we still, they've estimated that the capital repairs we have to make over the next 3 years of the lease was estimated to be $12 million. And when we had the discussion about the stadium, the legislation, $100 million. Okay, so MoCap can confirm that?
Yeah, through the chair of the councilman, I'm not familiar with that figure.
Okay. I'm just trying to understand, because this has been, this is one of the reasons why I cast my vote like I did, because this big hoopla and people doing somersaults about $100 million when we still owe $25 million. Debt or interest to the viewing public, like your mortgage, is another $28 million.
Through the chair of the councilman, I want to make a correction. The debt service is 28, so the interest would only be approximately
But
3.
the debt service, we owe it, okay. And then the capital repairs and the other things that they nick us on. At the end of the day, that's why I was not euphoric over the deal, because I thought it was not a good deal. And I contend that, and I think it's one of the worst deals, in my opinion, that I ever saw come before us. But I'll leave it at that. So again, $11 million to the viewing public we're providing to the Cleveland Browns Stadium, and that comes out of the general fund, correct?
Through the chair of the councilman, that's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lionel McCallum.
All right, Councilman Valencia. Is there any other questions on the Brown Stadium? All right, no further questions. All right, Ms. Saban, can you read the next section into the record?
Page 345, Public Auditorium, Executive Commissioner Susie Clater. Page 346, Salaries, 2025 unaudited, $1,743,682. 2026 budgeted, $1,882,030. Page 347, Total Expenditures, 2025 unaudited, $4,276,054. 2026 budgeted, $4,532,528. And page 348, staffing, 2025 actual, 30, 2026 budgeted, 70, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Commissioner, good afternoon, good evening, right, or afternoons.
Good evening.
So the output metrics, where we went from, we increased to 60 events in 2025. What are those? What are those events offhand responsible for the increase? Is that the Cleveland Charge?
To the chair, yes. The Cleveland Charge this season will have a total of 24. In 24-25, they had 19. So some of the numbers is for the Cleveland Charge.
Okay. And the Cleveland Charge, they sign a contract with us to play there for how many years? How many years is that?
To the chair, they will be here hopefully until 2030.
2030? Okay. So the attendees and visitors, Cleveland Charge brought in that increase, correct?
To the chair, some of the numbers.
Okay, all right. Is any other events that in the public auditorium other than the charge that were new in the year 2025?
To the chair, yes, we did have some new first-time events inside of the Cleveland Public Auditorium. I could provide you a list.
Okay, all right. And on page 346, Director, the total contractual services, see, it was a pretty big increase. A pretty big ask for 2026 versus 2025.
Through the chair to the councilman, again, the director can speak to the specifics, but these are budgeted for Schindler, Cintas, Johnson Control, and Terminix services.
Okay. All right, that's all the questions I have. I'm gonna go to Councilman Slife.
Thank you, as I am trying to do math. It's good to see you, Ms. Clater. The question specific to the budget, the transfer in for this one from the general fund is pretty substantial, and almost substantial to the point, and it's not a criticism, it's almost just as this miscategorized as an enterprise fund. It seems that this requires a pretty good subsidy, even as events increase. It's not that the subsidy decreases, the subsidy kind of maintains like almost like a 60 to 70% insertion of funds from the general fund to operate. Can you kind of just explain? But that's not intuitive, I guess. As the Cleveland charge increases the number of events, for example, can you speak to what expenses the city has to incur beyond that the charges for service don't cover that causes the transfer in to increase?
Through the chair to the councilman, I will let my director talk about the Cleveland charge and what those charges would be. But to answer your question in regards to the transfer in, as you know, in 2024, half of that year, we encumbered the Westside Market staff, so that was added to our numbers. And then in 2025, we entered the Westside Market plus the special events because we separated Public Works to Parks.
Thank you for that reminder.
Recreation.
Anything to add, Director?
Thank you, through the chair to the council member. Yeah, I appreciate this. It has been great to have additional activation of that space. There was an agreement that Commissioner Claytor was a part of the development of prior to my arrival with the city. We definitely have a distinct fee structure. I don't have it in here in front of me at this time, but I'd be more than happy to provide that fee structure so that you can see how we delineated that work would get done.
Okay, yeah, and my reason for asking is I hope I'm not coming across as cynical or adversarial. If increased events doesn't decrease the amount of the transfer in, then is this appropriately structured as an enterprise fund, I guess is the root of my question. And a lot of government services are not designed to make money, and we are looking at spillover benefits, and do we need to rethink how our expectations of public auditorium? That's not to say we're taking the foot off the gas as much as would we be changing a lane.
Yeah, thank you, through the chair to the council member. I could get very philosophical as it relates to enterprise funds, revenues, and what we should or could be doing. I think there are a lot of government entities that do quite well with enterprise funds, and they certainly understand how to balance the operation. When we look at large specialty facilities such as a large auditorium, there are a lot of urban municipalities that have public auditoriums or some other kind of municipal meeting space. I think we would have to do a deep dive into the structure of the revenue fees and really consider what it costs to operate it. It would be a thorough analysis to determine whether or not we should continue it as an enterprise fund. What I will say, government is not very good at adjusting prices for the cost of inflation the way private enterprise is. When we think about recreation, cemeteries, other places where we're making money in addition to public auditorium, we don't change fees on a regular basis. Wages go up, cost of goods and materials, equipment, supplies go up. We don't change fees on a regular basis. So it would take a thorough, distinct plan if we were going to operate it as a true enterprise, and we would have to have a pro forma to make sure that we were doing the right job.
All right, so thank you. Perhaps that's something we circle back on. My final question, if you see me wandering around public auditorium, it's because I'm trying to find where the Division of Traffic Engineering was moved to. Don't tell me, I can't get fired, I will find it. I will take that tunnel, I will walk around, I will search every nook and cranny of that building, and I will find Rob Mavick. But it makes me wonder, and I'm not talking about the basement conference space, I'm talking about elsewhere in the building, is there other space available in public auditorium that maybe some of the things like health and building and housing and others that we put over at, say, Erie View could come into public auditorium? And I know that's not going to affect your bottom line, but it affects the budget elsewhere where we wouldn't be having to pay rent to an outside party if we have the space. I know it's an old facility. I could imagine there's a scenario where the space theoretically exists, but like they're relying on America Online to get onto the internet. But is there space available? Should we be exploring ways that we can maximize our usage of public auditorium so we can help the books elsewhere?
Through the chair to the councilman, I believe the Mayor's Office on Capital Projects is looking at how we could reallocate, realign, redesign public auditorium space for some additional staffing. I don't have a full plan. I don't know how to answer that question, other than to say I do know that MoCap is working on how they can use some of that space as office space.
Okay, thank you. And I will, in my own research, trying to find traffic engineering, I'll try to see if there's other spaces available as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Slade. So on page 348, the increase in staffing levels from 30 to 70, you want to do 70 positions. Now, what does that entail, and what are those folks? What will those folks be doing?
So through the chair to the councilman, if you'll notice, 48 of those are the part-time. So that's the big chunk of them. I can let the commissioner talk about what they do and what their normal duties are.
To the chair, the 48 is actually the part-time staff that we use for events, so that includes the guards, the stage hands that does the rigging and all of the sound things for the event. They are all part-time, and some labor, municipal service labor. Those are the guys who set up for the event.
Okay, and another question. I guess I'm trying to recall when we did the deal for the public auditorium. The Cleveland Charge wouldn't be paying rent for the first several games in exchange for their upgrade of the locker room. Is that when it was like $3 million of the locker room, something like that?
To the chair, yes. So the charge put in $3.4 million.
Okay.
And over the year of the contract up to 2030, there is a credit that we will be providing.
Okay, so we really haven't received very much revenue from them thus far because of their investment in the locker room space.
To the chair, that is correct. But
And it's a gradual
received
spend down. Okay, all right, thank you. I'm going to the dean.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, and to the commissioner, and to everybody here. So you mentioned that when the Westside Market transferred to the nonprofit, because I don't see that in full time here. So am I missing something? The staff that came over?
Through the chair, okay. Through the chair to the councilman, yes, the full-time permanent, if you look and see for 2024 to 2025, that has some.
Because we don't have 24 on here.
No. Okay.
We just have 25 budget, 25 actual. So, because according to here, full-time this year will be 22 people.
Through the chair to the councilman, my understanding was when the city collaborated to have a nonprofit run the Westside Market, that the goal was to ensure that all of our staff working at that facility would remain employed. So we transferred them to public auditorium, where I believe we had 3 people who now are producing work relating to public auditorium and other administrative functions. And so that was where Westside Market staff came to public auditorium.
But it's not really reflected in your numbers. That's what I'm saying.
Through the chair to the councilman, I believe that happened, is that 23?
That happened in 24.
Oh, 24, okay, sorry.
Okay.
I apologize, I wasn't here.
So what was the staffing level then in 24?
Through the chair to the councilman, I can verify that in couple seconds. I believe they did have 5 people at Westside Market, but I believe a couple of them actually stayed at Westside Market, and I believe 3 transferred over to Public Auditorium.
Yeah, okay. So, it's based on the chairman's line of questioning, what is our monthly, yearly lease revenue from the charge? Do we know what that is?
Through the chair to the councilman, I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Okay.
We'll get that for you.
I'd like to see that, make that request, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, you have that request?
Yeah, because
Okay.
based on again, the questions that were presented, we are, expenditures at the public auditorium have increased substantially, and the revenue has not increased substantially. So what is the subsidy in the subsidy this year is 3.4 million?
Through the chair to the councilman, that's correct. It's on the transfer in line item under revenues.
So that's almost $1 million more, over $1 million more from 2023. Transfers in.
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, you're reading that correctly.
Okay, and I don't hear anybody talking about tearing down public auditorium and putting a golf course there or a park. Okay? Again, going back to what the commissioner indicated, with the IX Center going bye-bye, and I don't know when that's going to happen, and all those venues out there, have any of them expressed interest to whoever of coming over to our shop, even though we don't have nowhere near the space available? But has there been any interest?
Through the chair to the councilman, absolutely. We have been doing several walkthroughs and site tours.
Okay.
There's some talk about the Home and Garden Show, sharing the space with the convention center,
With the
Huntington
county?
Convention Center, and Public Auditorium.
Okay.
There's like the bridal weddings and things. We don't have a lot of large space that the IX Center house those people, but it's been definitely
Okay.
tremendous amount.
From my going over there for different events, does the charge court ever come down, or is it just there all the time?
Through the chair to the councilman, that is correct. When we have events that we have scheduled, the charge does have to remove their floor.
They remove
Maybe
it.
not so much of the equipment, but the floor and the benches.
So they
and
remove it out of the way so we can utilize, like for the senior day and all that good stuff,
That is
that's all
correct.
moved out of the way. Okay. The, I tell my colleagues, the first Cavaliers game I ever saw was at Public Auditorium. The Cavaliers, when they first got started, they would have preseason, or I don't know what the heck they call them, over at our facility to try to spur interest. So I saw my first Chicago Bulls game over at the convention center in the day, and had a fortunate opportunity to stand next to Artis Gilmore, who was 7 foot something or other, and that was like I was standing next to a giant over there in the court there. And growing up in Cleveland, that's where we went to see the circus and ice capades and with all the other stuff there. So I have very fond memories of that place. So I'm hoping that, again, that we can start to see some substantial business coming back to our historic facility, because, but I also would be less than honest that looking at the fact that we are subsidizing it more than ever before. So I'm hoping at some point We can generate more business there. It's interesting what we're subsidizing. And again, and then when we subsidize other things, it's like, oh God, the sky's falling. But here the fact is, we're doing what we need to do on behalf of the taxpayers of the city of Cleveland. Public auditorium is how old?
Public auditorium was built in 1922.
So it's over 100 years old.
Yes.
We got to protect our historic institutions, and so therefore we have to do what we have to do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you,
I
Councilman
wasn't in
Palencia.
council. Okay.
Next, I got Harsh.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was also over there wandering around one day, and I discovered the unused theater on the north side that kind of faces east. Have we ever done a facilities assessment to figure out what it would cost to get all of public auditorium active? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, there was an assessment done, I believe, in 2012.
2012. And through the chair, what was the rough cost on that at the time?
Through the chair, I have to get those figures for you. I don't have them with me.
Okay. I'm just curious. And then if we can, I'd be curious to see what it was. It's 15 years ago, but still. Through the chair, we're not talking about the Westside Market yet, right? We're still going to bring that in next, okay? All right, then I'll wait. Thank you.
You done? Oh, you done? Oh, next is Councilman Shaw, and then we're gonna come back to Gray.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. Just had a couple quick questions. I know right now that you have to call a number to get information about registration to the commissioner through the chair. Is there any plans to modernize how that booking system works, or to understand what the rates might be to help folks who are interested?
Through the chair to the councilman, I believe you're talking about special events. There are the ones that does the parks and the malls and things like that that you have to, there's an online booking system now that we're trying to do. Correct?
Go ahead.
Through the chair to the council member, I will chime in a little bit. Early in my presentation, I talked a little bit about how we're taking baby steps in terms of modernizing our permitting process. We started with something simple and easy like athletic field permits. We also did pavilions, pavilion reservations, though we do recognize the pavilion's not in the best of shape. We will take it further to special events, some of which are fee-based. There's a few different steps that we would need to take in that process. Modernizing what we do and making it easy for the community is the key to what we're trying to accomplish. And the second piece is this ties back to our marketing and how we use social media, the website, as well as a catalog to make sure we get that information out to the residents. So duly noted, and I appreciate that support.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I also have been blown away every time I'm in there, and would like to see more events there, and want to understand how I can help support. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gray?
Thank you, Chair. I want to say, is it safe to say, Director, just let you know what I've been hearing, that the Recreation Department will be moving to the public auditorium? Chair to the Director.
Through the chair to the council member, so we know that MoCap is looking at repurposing the office space and how they can take some, what is I would consider dead space right now, and make it more effective. When we look at the establishment of the Parks and Rec Department, we're scattered all over the place, some at 49th Street, some at Public Auditorium, some at City Hall. The Mayor's Office on Capital Projects is looking at how they could repurpose some space. I don't have anything finite or detailed in terms of where we could go, who we could go with. All I can say is that I did provide them information on a list of office and cubicle space that we would require if we were going to move. But at this time, I don't have any information on when or how that would happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Gray. Is there any other questions on public auditorium? Seeing no further questions, Ms. Saban, can you read the next section into the record?
Page 349, Westside Market, General Operations, Salaries, 2025 unaudited, 0, 2026 budgeted, 0. Page 350, Total Expenditures, 2025 unaudited, 1,118,972. 2026 budgeted, 783,303, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Director, the transfer subsidies for the Westside Market, they're actually increasing. When are we going to? When is the Westside Market going to be stable enough for us to stop have to subsidize it?
Yeah, to the chair, I know there's been a lot of work over there on the Westside Market. In the meantime, you are correct. The subsidy will be going up next year, although just slightly by about $14,000. So I think the director can talk, or the director can talk a little bit more about what's going on over there specifically and what kind of work they're doing.
Thank you, Director Barrett. To the chair, the subsidy to the Westside Market has to do with the operation, and they are looking at expanding operations and assessing and analyzing what is going on at this time. My understanding is that the subsidy is supposed to run, they should be breaking even by 2030. And as we look at some of their highlights, they've been doing different types of programming, trying to get more foot traffic to come to that facility, trying to get more vendors set up, and trying to create more of an atmosphere around the seasonality of the business, the seasonality of farming, and creating more engagement type events. I honestly apologize. I don't have a huge amount of information on the Westside Market. It does fall under Parks and Recreation.
So where is the a market? What do they call the market?
Manager?
Yeah, where's the I can't remember the name of the Westside Market folks.
CPMC.
CPMC. They're not here today.
To the chair, no, they're not here today. I don't know if they weren't available. I'm not really sure. I received some information. I don't know if they were double booked.
Okay, so do we know, has the vendor, they said they were going to start to increase their vendors and start selling more spaces to vendors. Have they done that?
To the chair, my understanding is that they have been selling more vendor spaces. I know they just refurbished one of the corridors, and they were getting more staff in there. The North Arcade is slated to open in 2028. It will take some years for them to anticipate seeing some revenue.
Yeah, and just to the chair, I'll just add that the operating model changed, so that's why they're not at the table. My understanding is the support agreement changed for the Westside Market.
The support agreement changed? Can you give us more information on that? When did it change, and how did it change, and what did it change to?
They switched in 2025 from a management agreement to a ground lease agreement, which means all income will be staying with the Cleveland Public Market corporations. It means the city no longer advances funds on a quarterly basis. Instead, they have an annual support agreement where they allocate grant dollars to that organization.
Well, so that didn't need councilmatic approval?
To the chair, I believe that did go through the legislative process. I can confirm that.
Okay.
Yeah, and to the chair too, I just want to add that there was a pre-council request for the budget and projections, so that was sent over to council staff prior to hearings. So you guys should have that in your.
Okay, we do have something here. We do have something here. We just thought maybe we would get some representation from the CPMC. I'm gonna go to Councilman Chris Harsh.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have something from the CPMC, and I have to say it's kind of disturbing. First off, through the chair to Director Nichols, I believe you came on after this whole realignment. You do not run the Westside Market. It is not your task to run the Westside Market, and I don't feel like you should have to sit here and take questions on the Westside Market. I really think Roseanne Moudry should be here. She is the person who runs this organization. This is her task. And if she's asking the city of Cleveland for $783,000, she should be at the table. I know that she'll hear this one way or another, so Ms. Moudry, your colleagues at the Highland Golf Course came out to ask us for $909,000. You can be here to ask us for $783,000. Because what we've got here is a budget that is very disturbing. Currently, they're running a deficit, and they plan to have this deficit closed by 2030 through commercial kitchen rental, renovated food hall of $1 million, through merch sales that are going to go up from the current $12,000 to $409,000 a year. We'll come back to parking. The commercial kitchen currently makes nothing, but they're projecting $303,000, and their food hall rental, they're projecting $1 million in revenue that starts in 2028. If that falls through, then we're looking at a perpetual $784,000 subsidy in perpetuity. There's no reason for us to actually believe that any of these revenues are a given. I mean, some of them don't even exist at all. And matter of fact, the only revenue that really should be a given is parking revenue, and they've got that running flat at $498,000 for last year, when I believe parking revenue at the Westside Market used to exceed like $1.5 million a year. I think we used to make $1.5 million a year off parking at the Westside Market, and now we're down to $500,000, which is a 66% drop. And the last time I was at the Westside Market, there was no gate. I chuckled as I drove right in because there was no even parking system in place. We'll talk. Okay. So I have very big concerns, and some of my new colleagues here, there's this sort of myth on the left and the right that government should be run like a business. The right wing wants to run it like a Trump casino and just rob us blind, and the left wing wants to run it like a nonprofit. The problem is 90% of all businesses fail anyway. And the nonprofit model that the left wing seems to always believe that we should run government like always requires huge subsidy. Like nonprofits exist because they raise money off foundations. Well, we're the foundation for the nonprofit, when you get government involved, right? They still want money from us. The subsidy for the Westside Market was never $700,000 a year. It was in the $250,000 range when we ran it as a government effort. I will say that whereas no one has ever in the history of my time on city council ever talked to me about the Highland Golf Course, the Westside Market is shockingly popular, and for good reasons. It's a lovely place to go. I think we've all been there. I think we all like it. I understand why the Westside Market is a valuable investment for the city of Cleveland, and I've seen their numbers of people that come into the Westside Market. It is in the millions, right? I think it's they claim it's bigger than the Rock Hall. I have no reason to dispute that. Lots of people go, lots of people love it. I'm not arguing with our investment in the Westside Market as a social good for the people of Cleveland, but we need the people that run this thing to be here at the table when they ask us for $750,000. And we need to know what their plan is, better than revenue that is slated to start existing next year. That to me is just entirely unacceptable. I'm concerned about the parking revenue. I'm concerned about the future revenue. I'm concerned about this ever-going flush, which is what we were promised. I also know that we gave them $10 million in ARPA funds to fix the place up. And I know that they got some grant. $20 million in ARPA funds. $20 million in ARPA funds that we invested into the Westside Market. And I know that they did just get some grant money from outside, like historic something or other. So they're getting money in there. Why are they asking us for more than we've ever had to subsidize them in the past? It seems really inappropriate. I apologize, Director Nichols. You got a promotion. Director Nichols, I apologize. This isn't directed towards you. I want everybody to understand my frustration is that the actual people who run the Westside Market are not here. That is inappropriate. Mr. Chairman, that's all.
All right, thank you, Chris. I'm sorry. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman Harsh. You know, you brought up some good points about the Westside Market and the Highland Golf Course. The Highland Golf Course is probably still and will be next year and 10 years from now worth $70 to $100 million, right? But how much is the Westside Market worth if it's closed, if it's not operating, if nobody's going in the doors? Matter of fact, we have paid millions and millions and millions of dollars just to keep the place open, just to keep it going, and for us not to get any kind of return on that, I think is troubling. So I'm gonna go to Mike Polensek.
Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, Director, get a stethoscope because he promoted you to doctor. I just want to concur with Councilman Harsh. When you looked, I was here for the whole historic discussion about the Westside Market. The Westside Market was making money. We were breaking even. We were breaking even when the city was running it. Yeah. Well, not based on what we have, we were.
We didn't put no 20 million toward it.
Yep. We were. So we put
Everything
in,
through the chair.
We put in what they needed over there because I'm a Westside Market shopper. I go there all the time. When I'm here, I go over there for lunch or go over grab something, and because it's a place I went to with my grandfather as a small child, and I have great fond memories of the market, and I think it's one of the true assets of the city. But as the council president indicated, we put at least 20 million in there. That's not counting the money we put in during the White administration and the Jackson administration and Campbell administration. See, people forget about all that. I was here when we passed all that. The millions we poured into the facility. The problem is where the mistakes were made, they never focused in the basement. It was always what the public could see. It was never the mechanical systems in the basement that needed to be addressed, and that was a serious mistake. But that wasn't the fault of the council. It was the fault of the people who were working then, and it wasn't MOCAP at the time. I can't remember who was responsible for that, but there were some major mistakes made. So here we are today. We're subsidizing it from $783,303. No one is advocating that we tear it down and put a golf course there or a park. We want it to be maintained. But at some point, and I totally agree, the people who are, what is the name of the group, Mr. Chairman? What's the name of the group running it now?
PMC.
Through the chair to the councilman, the name of the group operating it is Cleveland Public Market Corporation.
Okay, they should be here. And the president should be with the executive director, whoever it is, operating this place. So we can have some engagement. See, I have no problem holding this until Monday. See, I'll tell you right now, I have no problem holding this till Monday. So we can get some real questions. Because, you know, again, the parking situation, it's like elderly cannot, we keep thinking that everyone's got one of these phones where they can go over to that stupid thing you got to use your phone on. A lot of the elderly people don't. They go to the park. They go to the shop. So I'd like to really get, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to get give us, right now, tell us at this point in time, how's the market doing? What are the rents in the market? because I've seen a big change there. I've seen a lot of people go out that I've been dealing with historically there. They've disappeared. I don't know if it's because they've raised the rates too high, the rents too high, but I'd like to get a snapshot in time, Mr. Chairman and my honorable colleagues, as to how the Westside Market is doing. And again, we have a right to ask, as it pertains to the subsidy, because as Councilman Conwell and I know, we have the East Side Market, and we're not subsidizing that. And that place is in trouble. There is big trouble there, the East Side Market. So again, I'm willing to hold on this, Mr. Chairman, till Monday, or whenever you and the council president decide we should hear it. But they need to be at the table. They need to be at the table. They need to explain to us. And so the staff, I think it's more than 20 we poured in there, into the building.
In the long run.
I think it's more than 20. I'd like to know exactly what that number was we poured in there. I think we have a right to know that. We wanted it to work. What did we hear? If we turn it over to a nonprofit, it's going to be successful and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We've heard that. We bought into it, thinking that would be the cure-all for the Westside Market. But I'd like to get a snapshot, and I'd like to know what the rates are, what they're charging the merchants inside the market. Because I've seen everything go up in price. Maybe that's because food in general has gone up in price, because I go over there. And I'm appreciative. I think it's a great, when I go to the Westside Market, to me it's Cleveland. It's every nationality, it's every race, it's every religion. People with six-figure incomes and people on public assistance. That you don't see that kind of mix in a whole lot of places in the city. So I'm very mindful of that and supportive of that. But I think we need to understand where we are at this point in history with the operation of the Westside Market. So that's where I'm at, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilman. So we were also told that they were going to raise a lot of money through private donations. So it says here in 2026 they expect to bring in $15,000 in grants.
How much?
$15,000.
He couldn't say that.
Where's that? I don't even see
So, to the councilman, or to the chair, my notes show that they focused efforts on fundraising to complete the transformation project,
Okay.
which was associated with capital projects, and it was in alignment with the master plan for the Westside Market that was developed by the city. When they completely renovated the space, it will provide additional revenue. It looks like from a fundraising perspective, they're closing on stage one financing, which includes $13 million in historic and new market tax credits, $9 million in philanthropic contributions. I don't have any more detail on the philanthropic contributions, but that shows me that they have been doing some fundraising.
All right, I'm going to go next to Councilman Conwell.
You know, I agree with my colleagues. We gave them, since we, millions of dollars. Out of respect, someone should come to narrate, to tell us what's going on. If I gave, like, in every department, a director or someone come and they give a presentation. So when we have questions to ask, they're able to tell us what's going on. But when you don't do that, that's insulting. That's insulting. I'm open for them to come in on Monday to narrate with us and talk with us about the Westside Market, because they're going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming again. And I don't like just giving money and someone disrespect me. That's disrespectful. And let me say this. Here's a danger, Director, that's coming up. The city still owns the East Side Market. Are you aware of that? All right. The city leased the Eastside Market to Neon Health Centers for $1 a year. Neon owns the grocery store, the Eastside Market. They own the rights to it, okay? Now, the federal government have put a receiver over Neon. More than likely, here's a risk. That place probably go dark before the end of the year. Now, before I became the council member over there in that area with the Eastside Market, the city would take care of, let's say take care of, they would put money and pump millions of dollars into the Westside Market. But the Eastside Market was left closed. And the people over there in the Glenville community, the home of the Mighty Mighty Top Blooders, did not have a grocery store to go to at all. At all. So would that happen again? We just gave them $20 million to the Westside Market, but you leave the people in Glenville community and you abandon them? I'll have a fit. I would have a fit. I would protest the Westside Market if they did us like that. We would protest left and right. I would send letters out to let people know. More than likely, the Eastside Market will go dark. More than likely, and especially if Neon goes under healthcare center. Because then you're going to have healthcare inequality in a lot of the communities on the east side, as well as we're going to lose that grocery store. And treat the East Side Market just like you treat the West Side Market. The people in Glenville, they're your bosses as well. They're your board of directors, they're your bosses, and no one, never ever. That place stayed dark for 20 years. 20 years, and we could never let that happen again. We could never let that happen again. So we're giving out money to the West Side Market. I'm paying close attention to this. I'm keeping all the receipts. And if the East Side Market go dark, we need to take care of it as well. That's just where I'm at. So this, I don't want to move forward with it for me until they come in to present in front of us the West Side Market sometime next week. And you don't have to do it on Monday for them to present, since they didn't come today. It's when we feel like having them to come, because they're asking for the $783,000. If we want them to come to present in front of us on Wednesday or Thursday, or whatever the case may be, they didn't come today. So it's on our time for them to come, Mr. Chairman, not on theirs. And that's just where I'm at with this. 783,000. I thought we were finished. And they should have been, and you know what? You know what, Director? They should have reached out to us before budget time, because you give a progress review. You say the city gave us $20 million. And out of respect to the city council and the mayor, we're going to reach out to them in September or October, because they know where they're at that time. And you know that, Director. You don't wait until budget time come. They already saw where the numbers were going, and they could have reached out to us earlier. So it's on us. We don't have to do it Monday, Councilmember Mike Polensek. It's when we could do it next week, whenever. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Councilman Conwell. So was the request made for the CPC to be here today, or you just, how did that go?
To the chair, I haven't had a lot of involvement with CPMC. It was something that is on the goal for this year, to become more of the liaison with this organization. I apologize that it's not going as well as obviously our council members had planned. Certainly we can do what we can to see what we can do to have the operator of this organization come next week.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I'm going to go to Council Lady Nikki Hudson.
Thank you. First, I just want to agree with my colleagues that I would like to see the new nonprofit manager of the Westside Market here. There are questions that I have that are on this sheet that I believe they're the only ones that could answer. So It does make a lot of sense for them to be here. But I don't know if everybody at this table is aware, but my husband and I owned a business at the Westside Market for several years. So I am extremely aware of the situation at the Westside Market and how things were in the early 2000s when it was under city management. Things were certainly not good. And there is a reason why people pushed for nonprofit management. I would describe the city, in my experience as a business owner there, as a slumlord when we were at the Westside Market. The city, and does the Westside Market now, I don't believe they have working HVAC. It is a food retail business that does not have air conditioning in the summer. There are significant capital improvements that were delayed for decades that are finally now, hopefully, being addressed, and including in the basement where the walk-in coolers are. The basement, in my time there, in certain parts, it's a horror show. I'm sure, it's a series of walk-in coolers, industrial-sized walk-in coolers, and that is going to take a lot of money to get to the standards that a public market should be at. The city is not in the market management business. And that is why, when I was there, I advocated for a nonprofit management company. And this is, going back almost 20 years ago. Also, while we were there were 120 vendors at the Westside Market. Now I believe there are less than 70. And so part of that is a loss of foot traffic. And as you know, West 25th is booming. There are things that are going on West 25th Street that were not going on when we were there in the early 2000s. So the loss of business, the loss of vendors, the loss of tenants at the Westside Market, it's not because Ohio City is shrinking. It is, it's kind of like the reverse situation. The market is declining while the neighborhood around it is booming and growing. So we do need to have this nonprofit manager here so we can get some real answers. But my time at the Westside Market, it was an enterprise fund. It was under the Department of Parks and Recreations. But Michael Cox was the head of that department back then, and he didn't care about the Westside Market. It wasn't on his priority list. That was very apparent to the business owners there. That's why the market declined to the point where it needed this influx of, tens of millions of dollars, is because it was left to decline for a long, long time. And so now we are finally just bringing this historic and very important asset of the city of Cleveland back to where it needs to be. And there are a lot of missed opportunities in the Westside Market. There's what can be a public event space that's up above, that's going to be the commercial kitchen space. It should have a seating area. It's going to take money to renovate that. But I do agree that we need to have the nonprofit manager here to answer some of these important questions. But the city was not a good manager of the Westside Market. And so there is a reason why it transferred over. Sorry, this brings back a lot of bad memories for me. But thank you for giving me the time to get that off my chest.
Okay, Council Lady, I'd like to ask you, what time, at what year did you leave the market?
2008.
Oh, 08? Okay. All right. Charles Slight, Councilman Slight.
I'll be very brief because I have an inclination that we're going to be having this conversation again, Chairman. But I will say I have done the tour of kind of the nooks and crannies of the Westside Market, it undoubtedly needs capital improvements in a universe where the general fund was being asked to participate in some of those improvements. I wouldn't like it, but I could sort of understand it. But it seems that from the budget, it's not clear that that's what's happening. So I think that deserves some more scrutiny. And then also, as it relates to the parking revenue, I will admit I got a ticket parked there a year ago, and they get you on your license plate. It is a flat rate of after 6 p.m. a flat rate for the entire evening. I actually think it discourages people from parking there because they don't want to pay $6 to go for half an hour to go get ice cream at Mitchell's. So I would think to the degree that we can, I think that we need to look at getting that linked into the larger park mobile system. It's not intuitive. People aren't paying because they don't know how to use a QR code. Tickets are getting sent to collections. So I think that that's something that we need to lean into a little more, because I would have expected the parking revenues to be higher as well. I'll leave it at that because we're probably going to talk about this again. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Slife. Next, I got Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, is there anyone after me? Am I the last one before we break?
I think Shaw.
I think
better.
I think we got another section to do.
Oh,
No, I think we're going to.
I think we might
That's
be
it?
it.
Oh,
This might be it.
You got 10 minutes.
So I'm going to use all seconds of it. No, pray for me. I'll just say a couple things. Yeah, completely understand the need to have representation from market management here. As I understand it, Rosemary Modry, the executive director, would be happy to be here on Monday. I'll also suggest, just conceptually, and I don't know where this would fall, a full committee hearing could be useful, just to really go over where the market's at and what the future holds. And Councilman Slife, I've taken the same tour. It sounds like Councilman Hudson, you may have taken a recent tour as well, based on that private event space up stop. I think a tour for anybody who wants to see where the market's going, it really does pay off. I'm excited about the future of the rental event space for weddings overlooking the market, and I have deep concerns about the walk-in refrigerators down in the basement, because that's going to be a while before those get fixed. But I'll just say thank you to this council for its consistent support of the Westside Market. I used to live across the street from it, and I used to walk to the market almost every day it was open. And it is a spiritual experience to walk the same route to the Westside Market that my grandparents and great-grandparents would walk. My neighborhood, or neighborhoods of the near West Side, are thriving because of consistent city investments and amazing assets like the Westside Market, the things that they don't make anymore. The vision that this council has had for the market has meant a lot, and it has worked. And our neighborhoods are, it's really special to live near there. I would be more apoplectic if there was not a pathway to profitability for the market, but there's a strategic plan. It looks like by 2030 they're expecting to turn money back around, based on capital investments, based on improved vendor quality or improved vendor service that will lead to more vendors taking spot. As I understand it, the vendors are low, not just for all the reasons that Councilwoman Hudson mentioned, but they have run out of workable spots to put new vendors. Councilwoman Gray and I had a conversation about this. As construction will continue, they're going to be moving all the vendors to one side of the market and then having to move them all back, and it's going to be a whole thing. So until the market gets rebuilt, it's going to be tough to turn around and get money. But that day is close at hand. And I'll leave you all with this. The market saved my Valentine's Day. I went over to my guy, Tom at Kate's Fish, got a dozen oysters and learned how to shuck them myself just last weekend. So only a lot of blood drawn. But if you ever need an oyster shucker, I'm your guy, and I thank the market for that. So with that, I'll yield, and hopefully we leave.
Thank you, Councilman Davis, for that story. Is there any other questions on the Westside Market? All right. All right, seeing no further questions, I hereby adjourn this Finance Committee to the next call of the chair.
Good job, guys.